Uh-oh, reverb. Hey guys, I'll be getting started in a little bit. Gonna get some players around, ready to play. Oh, let me set myself busy on Skype. Yeah, let's do that. What's up, Elhaym? I do have your replays in case I have any trouble finding an initial series to cast. Oh, let me do this. Alrighty. One more person wanted to play. Make a Reddit post. Hey, my name is Fear Dragon. I like to cast. Want to be casted? Stop by. Live now. Wow, this is really good. Big shout out to youtube.com/DSCA account. So good. Oh, Elhaym, you have a real series for me to cast. The ladder matches, but you guys played 3 times. Yeah, sure. Were the series that you sent me not real ladder or real matches? Alright, we got Pseudorandom in the building. What's up, Pseudorandom? Or at least in the chat. I don't know if he actually has the stream open right now. But he is in fact a Masters level, I think Zerg player is what he said. Yeah, Masters Zerg on North America. So if you have any Masters players out there, or any players that want to play against Pseudorandom, let me know. Oh, let me get... Do I have anything here? No. Alright. Elhaym, can you go ahead and send me those, the replay over? Actually, I'm just gonna cast... You can send those to me at some point. I'm gonna cast the other series that you'd sent me. Let me go ahead and edit this. Player 1. 0. Make it a tad bit more even. As I was saying though, guys, any level of play, you guys are welcome. Just gonna be casting some games, just for funsies. And I think I should have the games. Where is it? Here we go. Ooh, okay, okay. We have Elhaym versus SLeet and Elhaym versus Minigun. Which one do we pick, guys? Do we want a PVT? Or PVT? Wait a second. It's the same replay. He accidentally sent me the same replay twice. We just have Elhaym versus Minigun. Guys, we're gonna do Elhaym versus Minigun. Gonna go ahead and get this replay started up. And then we will get this show on the road. Wow, this is actually super sad music. There we go. Okay, we're actually gonna bring music out. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started and jump into the first game of the night. Now, in the meanwhile, if you are interested in playing, please just let me know over in the chat or over in the chat over on BNet. So that's Twitch chat or the BNet chat. That's BNet channel Fear Dragon. And we'll get you matched up against someone. Please try and bring somebody that you think you can play against, because I'm really, really bad at finding a lot of people. This is obviously a very small stream, so not expecting a lot of people to just like show up and suddenly we'll have, like, by coincidence, you know, 2 Silver Leaguers or 2 Masters Leaguers or Grandmaster Leaguers, whatever. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Oh my god, why am I here? There we go. That makes a lot more sense. Alrighty. Hello everyone, this is Fear Dragon and welcome to the broadcast. We are going to be jumping into a Terran versus Protoss here on the map King Sejong Station. This is from the ladder and submitted by the player down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map as the red Terran player representing now his new team Flipside Tactics. It is going to be Elhaym under the guise of Lorraine. Living out some sort of crazy fantasies, I'm sure, but his opponent, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, is going to be the Barcode Protoss player, who I was actually told is in fact Root Minigun. Minigun, an absolutely top level North American player. Definitely one of the best in North America, hands down. And Elhaym, very much a solid Terran player who's up and coming in the scene, really likes his aggression. You gotta say that about Elhaym. He really does enjoy his aggression, and I know that he spends a good amount of time watching things like Rough from now Alloy Esports streaming. He likes to watch those streams because Rough has some crazy aggressive builds, and Elhaym likes to do all that kind of shenaniganry. Now, Minigun is just a generally solid Protoss player. He has shown all kinds of kind of colors of play. He's been aggressive, he's played macro, he's played cheeky, he's played totally standard. We could really see anything from him, but we are seeing a, you know, decently timed probe moving out across the map after the gateway. Nothing on like Pylon. Probe moving out to get super duper early scouting information, and Elhaym's actually not walling off, so you know what, this probe is not going to have any trouble getting all the information it needs, just to be safe, saying, okay, you know what, you have a barracks up, and he's going to see the gas geyser very, very soon. And ooh, Elhaym maybe a little bit afraid of some kind of proxy shenaniganry, moving down over here, checking for some proxies, doesn't see anything, and decides to move out for the scout. Minigun now coming in, sees that gas geyser, sees the barracks, and says, okay, it's a Reaper. That's pretty much a guaranteed bet at this point. So he says, you know what, I can just continue along with my build. Most Protoss builds these days do kind of account for the Reaper openings. It's pretty standard for a Terran player to go for. So he's going to have 2 guys in each gas geyser. Wouldn't be too surprised to see some sort of 1 gateway expansion coming out of Minigun. SCV going to come in over here. Elhaym going to be reassured that after scouting around for a couple of proxies, sees, oh, okay, you actually have a cybernetics core, you have 2 pylons in here, you have your second gas geyser, everything's looking a-okay and totally standard. And we're going to see some later stages of this game. And, you know, I have got to ask, what exactly do we end up seeing a lot of on this map with PvT? Now, there are these kind of ridges that I really like to talk about when it comes to Blink Stalker aggression, because it's something that I don't actually see very much of. I've seen it a couple of times. But overall, I feel like Blink Stalkers are almost underutilized on this map. It's so weird. It's not one of the newer maps in the ladder pool, but still you don't see it all that often. And really anything could happen, but Reaper coming in around, getting a good scout off, doesn't really get any kind of real damage done, but hey, that's all that Elhaym really needed to get done with that Reaper. He's not making more Reapers, he's not doing anything crazy, he's just going to try and keep that Reaper alive and get some nice scouting information. But what is Minigun actually going to go for? Well, first of all, he's going to go for that Nexus. As we were saying, it's going to be a 1 gateway expansion. And Elhaym getting up his own command center, just slightly ahead of Minigun. Not the biggest deal in the world. I mean, really, those 20 to 30 seconds, not going to make or break the difference in this game. But factory going up for Elhaym. He also has his reactor finished up, and it looks like we could be seeing, I mean, just based on the fact that this reactor is so far away from this factory, I mean, maybe we could have seen some kind of crazy Widow Mine drop, but I feel like we're going to just see a starport being dropped down, and probably Elhaym getting ready to crank out as many Marines as possible. And ooh, we do actually have a Widow Mine coming out, so you know, maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. Starport also being dropped down for Elhaym, and this could be a pretty strong build depending on what the Protoss player has. Now right now we take a look at Minigun. He has a Stalker and a Mothership Core, kind of just getting out slowly his units and getting up a robotics facility behind all this. And a robotics facility obviously just inherently going to be nice against the Widow Mines, just because, hey, I have detection, I can kill Widow Mines. That's generally a good place to get started. But the Twilight Council is also coming down, and Elhaym getting a nice little scat off on all of this. He sees the robotics facility, sees the Twilight Council. Now, this could also transition out into a bit of blink harassment, which we were talking about. This is a great map for it because you can blink up into all of this area over here or alongside the main base. You can obviously do some nice blink or even just regular walk up and attack stuff, harassment up at this main natural. Oh, hold that thought. We actually have the Marines going after the Magic Core. Oh my god, he actually manages to get it. Even with the time warp going down, the Marines are all going to end up dying, but that is still a really fantastic win over there for Elhaym by killing off that Mothership Core. And also forcing out a time warp and everything, of course, in case he didn't actually kill off the Mothership Core. He's basically depleted a lot of the energy that Mothership Core will now have. It's really weird because if those Marines had actually not died, or sorry, if the Marines did not kill the Mothership Core at all, but forced out the Time Warp, I think that the Mothership Core would actually have less energy than he does right now. But this is still a huge annoyance for Minigun. You have to invest that extra gas into getting that Mothership Core that maybe delays a little bit more of his tech. You can see this Twilight Council not really doing a whole lot, and actually, in fact, we're not actually seeing the Twilight Council research anything because he's gone straight up to an insanely fast Templar Archives, adding on a couple more gateways. And what on earth could he be planning? He has a couple of Stalkers out. He has 3 Stalkers out and getting out a 4th Stalker. But he has an awfully low number of units. Now we end up seeing the drop coming in over here into the main base. The Marines soak up the shots for quite a bit of time until the Widowmine gets unloaded and burrows. Widowmine getting 2 kills. That's not too bad, but where is the observer from Minigun? He has 2 observers out on the map. One is actually now heading back. The Hellion is actually now coming into the natural expansion. Elhaym putting on pressure from a lot of different fronts, but how much damage he's actually been able to do? He's actually been able to do some pretty good damage, especially with these Hellions. He's actually killing a lot of these probes. Oh my god, the probes are stacking up like mad, and I have got to say that Elhaym looks like he's gotten a fair amount of damage, a pretty gosh darn decent amount of damage, and he actually does get the scout off on this Templar Archives, also researching Stim. High Templar feedbacking the medevac. That's a really nice move from Minigun to take out that medevac and finally put an end to this harassment. But I mean, he's taken so many worker losses, 17 workers lost by this point. He's got to do something about that. And here's the issue. When you go for a High Templar base attack this early on in the game, I mean, you're sitting on 4 gateways, and of course, you don't really have an amazing economy. Yeah, you have Storm, but what happens if your opponent dodges those storms? You have to be so careful because you're kind of like a one-shot cannon. You're a one-trick pony in a sense. You got one chance, and that's it. And it looks like that one chance is going to be spent going for a Warp Prism drop. And we'll have to see how effective this is going to be, because Elhaym is already taking a 3rd expansion, so if the SCVs transfer over here, that might actually spread Elhaym out enough. He's not going to really be prepared for these 2 High Templars to drop in the mineral line, Psy Storm down on top of everything. And oh, medevac boosting over, and it sees the Warp Prism. Does he actually realize what's going on, though? He has seen that Templar Archive, so he should have full knowledge of what is possible to be done over here. And oh, the medevac, he's deciding if he was going to go back or not. He decides not to. The High Templar is going to be moving in, but Elhaym right on cue with the pull. The SCVs, and 0 damage really done over there. I mean, a couple of SCVs taking a little bit of light frostbite, but I mean, not going to be the biggest deal at all. No concern whatsoever. The 2 High Templars still looking for a little bit more potential for damage. I believe that he has 1 more storm. That was it. That was his 1 storm, and now he's going to have to back off. The double medevac's now coming in for Elhaym, and I have to say the Minigun has been chrono boosting out those probes like a madman. He's definitely been able to catch up quite a bit. He's actually, although Elhaym is actually going to be going for that robotic facility, he's going to be able to take that out, and that's going to be a huge annoyance. That's going to stop him from producing more observers. That's also going to stop him from being able to transition out easily into the Colossus tech from the High Templar tech, because I mean, the High Templar tech has been known or scouted for such a long time. He has to be a little bit concerned, Minigun does, that, you know what, maybe his opponent decides to go for some nice early ghosts. And then what do? Do you just keep making more High Templar and hope that you don't get EMP'd? It's a little bit difficult. Normally, pro players do prefer to go for the Colossus style after the ghosts start coming out in full force, but we're not really seeing that out of Elhaym just yet. You just continue to add on more Marauders, getting out a lot of these Widowmines. I think the Widowmines are going to be a really, really great addition, considering we have that charge finished up for Minigun's army. Although, where is Minigun's army? That is a really, really gosh darn good question, because it looks like this is pretty much it. This is actually not that large of a force, especially in comparison to the fact that Elhaym has 3 bases and now getting up a pretty substantial army himself. But oh, War Prism actually coming in over here into the main base. 2 Zealots being dropped out. The High Templar are still sitting in that War Prism. He could actually just be waiting for the main army to come around, and then he'll drop out those High Templar. He might be actually able to get some good storms over here if he decides to go for it. No, he's going to decide to back up with that War Prism just a tad bit. Doesn't want to risk losing those High Templars, or maybe doesn't want to waste that storm energy. Going to wait for the return of all of these juicy little SCVs that he can potentially kill. And if he is able to kill that, he will definitely be able to even up the worker count right now. And Minigun is trying to get up that 3rd expansion, so this will be a really, really nice boon if he decides to go for that High Templar drop anytime in the near future. And for Elhaym, or no, sorry, for Manbon in the chat asking who is Lorraine. Lorraine is in fact Flipside Gaming's Elhaym. I guess one of his alt accounts, living it out in another life. But Widowmine burrowed over here. Doesn't have any kills just yet, but it could soon. Drop coming in. couple of Marauders in the mix, and this should pull Minigun a good bit out of position for these 4 medevacs that are going to be dropping over in the main base. And really, what is there really going to be able to over here to defend? It looks like 5 Zelds and a High Templar. That's actually not too bad. He's going to be able to feed back any kind of medevacs. Oh, there's actually just 1 medevac just sitting over there. But I mean, there's still 4 medevacs left over. He decides to use his energy on a Storm, able to do some pretty good damage on a lot of the Marines. But these Zelds are only going to be here to buy a lot of time. And I have to hand it to Minigun right now. He's sitting on 1/1 upgrades. It's definitely helping out quite a bit against just the +1 weapons of these units. And oh my god, Minigun absolutely tearing apart all those units in the drop. But now we end up seeing the 2 Marauders coming back over here to the 3rd expansion, trying to get some damage done over here. I think that these 3 Stalkers and this Zealot should be enough to clean up these Marauders before they're able to do a whole lot more damage. But at the same time, it looks like Elhaym pushing across the map with another small little force. Elhaym just really keeping his forces really small, trying to do lots of small bits of damage and actually pulling a couple of SCVs. Where are these SCVs headed? Is this a mist rally? Or is he actually intending to do something crazy, like pull a bunch more SCVs? I don't know, but he does have a couple more units over here in the main base. Oh, medevac! Or sorry, Widowmine actually getting a couple of good probe hits over there. And this game is actually just a little bit crazy because it's not a lot of aggression by, you know, a ton of different units from Elhaym right now. It's just 2 or 3 units being pushed, put around inside these mineral lines. They're just kind of pulling Minigun in every which direction. A medevac does go down as it gets fed back, and looks like Elhaym's sole remaining survivor from the attack, this single Marine, is going to have to head back home. And Minigun looks like he almost has cleaned up everything. There's still this Widowmine over here. He has the Observer, but he's not actually realizing that it's over there. This is a critical blunder by Minigun. He's just going to continue to lose more and more probes. You have to remember, he has lost 39 workers so far in this game. He's down 44 probes to 63 SCVs. 44 probes is okay, but that's really not the kind of saturation you want. And look at this, another little drop over there from Elhaym, trying to do a little bit more damage. The workers starting to transition back out over here. It's gonna have to put those guys back in gas, but then I mean, you can see a couple of mistakes sometimes get made. You don't put 3 guys in gas immediately. And Elhaym is looking to put on a little bit more aggression once again. This time he doesn't have any medevacs though, so he may have to be a little bit more patient. Widowmine just gonna waltz its way over to the 3rd expansion. What on earth are you thinking, Elhaym? I guess it's gonna work out, and Minigun does realize in time he should be able to pick this off without any kind of problems or concerns, as long as he does make sure he controls this well. Oh, actually just gonna storm it. That's actually a really cute move. I mean, he does have quite a few High Templar left over, but look at this, the destructible rocks over the backside, gonna get knocked down. Minigun has vision of this. He should also hear that sound effect. He's moving back. This scan is actually gonna go down and see that this army is now approaching. Elhaym should be ready to actually back out. He does not want to get stormed on top of that ramp. That would actually be one way to instantly just take a huge loss in your army supply and probably lose to just a 1 big counterattack. And actually, speaking of which, this army really doesn't have any medevacs, so it's gonna have a hard time stimming back home. That'd actually be really costly for Elhaym to do at this point. He has 3 medevacs out on the map somewhere. I have no idea where they are. There is one of them. Going to be able to help out a little bit, and there are the other 2. And finally, he's going to turn around, maybe try and do a little bit of damage. But look at this. Minigun has been loading up on a lot of these Immortals, and these Immortals are actually going to be able to deal with this very Marauder-heavy composition from Elhaym. And oh, feedback's going down on top of the Ghost. The Ghost unable to get off the EMPs that they're really looking to do. Taking a look at the upgrades really quickly, as we may be seeing the big engagement happen finally for the first time in this game. I mean, a real big engagement, not just kind of small little skirmishes and drops. It is sitting 2-2 for our Protoss player versus the 2-1 of Elhaym. Elhaym so low on health, he's stimmed to death. He has to be careful. Storm's just decimating his army's health. And he's got to back up. He needs to heal up right now, and he doesn't really have that many medevacs to heal up. Yeah, he has a lot of energy, but 3 medevacs take a long time to actually heal up this army, and he's going to have to back up. I do not like the fact that Elhaym is actually continuing to engage over here. He's going after the destructible rocks. He's actually going to deny Minigun from forcing the engagement over here. That is a really cute little move, and oh, he's going to go straight over to the 3rd expansion. Look at how stimmed up this army is. This has absolutely no health. Somebody hire Obama for Elhaym's army. He needs some public health care. It looks like an EMP managed to land on a couple of these High Templar, which is a nice little move over here. But Elhaym's going to be sniping out this 3rd expansion, and then where does he go? His army is going to be completely trapped in. Well, I mean, a lot of Archons being morphed in over here. Looks like he doesn't quite have enough energy for the Storm's EMP is going off once again, trying to take out some of the shields of those High Templars and those Archons. But it looks like at the end of the day, Elhaym ends up losing his entire army. Was it worth it? He kills off the 3rd expansion. Now Minigun is almost certainly going to have to go into an almost all-in-ish position. He needs that 3rd expansion. He's barely mining from his natural expansion. He's not really mining from his main base either. So what does he do? He has to go across the map and just make it work with what army he has. But honestly, Elhaym lost so many units that may actually be enough. Oh, Planetary Fortress. I really like this decision from Elhaym. That Planetary Fortress is going to be able to easily deal with a lot of these Zealots and just really soak up a lot of shots. Add a little bit of Sim City as well. A lot of EMPs going down, taking out the shields from the Immortals and the Archons. Could that be the critical blow that Elhaym needed to hold on over here? We're getting a little bit of lag, but nobody else is in the game. It's a replay, guys, so it's just me. Elhaym still sitting a little bit behind on those upgrades. Also 2-1 versus the 3-3. It looks like Elhaym trying to catch up a little bit. Some feedback's going down on top of that medevac. Although not a lot of stalkers to really deal with it. Only a couple of those Archons to try and deal a little bit of anti-air damage. But Elhaym is only just now starting up that +3 weapons and +2 armor. So he is sitting very far behind in his upgrades. Down, I guess, a full total of 3 upgrades. And that's going to be a huge loss for Elhaym if he is not able to, you know, really just take advantage of the fact that he has a better economy than Minigun. Minigun charging back in over here. The EMPs have gone off, or actually no, they haven't really gone off on any of these Archons or the Immortals. In fact, it looks like he's may actually be able to just hold with what he has right over here. He's pulled a couple of those SCVs. The SCVs getting decimated by the Archons with +3 weapons. Is this going to be enough? The Immortals are now starting to get on top of those Marauders, and that looks like it may be able to push Elhaym back, and Minigun is going to be able to charge on for it. War Prism warping a couple more Zealots just to add a little bit more DPS and tanking to this army. And oh, he's going to charge on forward at the same time. Minigun going to be under siege in his natural expansion. This is actually putting Minigun in a 100% all-in situation over here. He has to win the game with this over here. And can he really do it? I'm not so sure. Elhaym is actually still mining a little bit from this 3rd expansion. He's still trying to crank out as many units as possible. A lot of Zealots being warped in over here for Minigun, but he can't really afford to do a whole lot more of those. I mean, he's not really mining any minerals at this point. So basically, no more mineral warpins from Minigun. This is going to be it. The Immortals actually now under fire from the SCVs. Oh my god, call the SCV train. They are under attack because these Immortals are actually getting taken out slowly but surely, and GG is going to get called. Minigun going to tap out versus Elhaym from Flipside Gaming in this ladder game. And some really sick play over there from Elhaym. Minigun looked like he may actually have been in a decent position after holding off a lot of that aggression. You know, he managed to just do a really good job with his defense for a while, but Elhaym, despite losing a lot of units, was able to just constantly keep Minigun on his toes and be able to snipe off that 3rd expansion. It was a really questionable decision from Elhaym, but it ended up working out really, really well in the end. It put Minigun into a very all-in-ish position. And yeah, Minigun had a lot of power units like Immortals, like Archons, like High Templar, but after a while, he started to lose a couple of those because they were just really, really small skirmishes, and it ended up working out really, really well for Elhaym. So big congrats to Elhaym on that game. And with that being said, we're going to take a short break as I try and get the music going. I'll get the music going at some point. Give me a second, guys. Hey, there we go. So we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get some water, and we're going to see if we can find some live matches to cast, because that was actually a replay submitted by Elhaym. Thank you so much, Elhaym, for submitting that. And I want to give a shout out to everyone actually watching right now and sitting in the chat. We have Manbon, who's asking who Boomerang was, and of course, giving some shouts about the snipe medevacs and the storms, etc. And shout out to DanJinWonKim. DanJinWonKim. There we go. Nice to have you guys. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. And if you actually want to play, hop into the channel Fear Dragon over on Battle.net and we'll get you set up for some show matches. guys. So we were gonna have Pseudorandom play. I think that Pseudorandom is now in a game. So if there's anybody else that would like to play, and all levels are available to play. Doesn't matter if you're Bronze League, Silver League, whatever. If you have a friend though, please bring them along. A friend that is, or any kind of, even an enemy. Enemies would actually be great as well. Anyone that you really think would want to play against you and would be evenly matched against you, because we want to have some evenly matched games. Alright, let's see who we can grab. Well, yeah, Pseudorandom, North American Master Level Zerg did want to play. We'll see if we can find somebody. I might know some Master Level players that might want to play. Let's see. Alright. Manbon, are you interested in playing? Ooh, Manbon. Alright, guys. But yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. Again, for anyone tuning in maybe a little bit later, this is sort of just a chill cast. I'm just going to be sitting around casting games, kind of staying on top of casting, because honestly, there's not as much that I've been around to cast lately. Stuff is either not at a good time for me these days, because I'm at work, or I don't know, it's just not frequent enough. So I thought, why not just get people and cast some games myself? But yeah, so I'm thinking about streaming a little bit more in the future, and I had like a couple of ideas for things I wanted to do. One of the things is I played a little bit of StarCraft on stream the other day, just for fun. I was laddering a little bit, so I guess some people decided to tune in for that. I was surprised. I'm pretty bad at StarCraft, but I tend to try and take it with a good heart, and you know, I don't really get too upset or anything. But yeah, if you want to stop by and watch that and make fun of me, please feel free. I'm going to be doing a little bit more of that in the future. I'm also going to be doing more of these sort of chill, just find players and have them play random show matches, sometimes on very strange maps. Like, I was thinking about doing a Throwback Thursdays or something, or just have players play on old ladder maps from Wings of Liberty. Allow players to offer it, especially like GM players. That would be fantastic. Forcing a bunch of GM or like top level players to play on like really old maps for show matches. Oh man. But yeah, then there were some other ideas that I had. I wanted to like maybe do a little bit of casting for Smash Brothers. I used to play a lot of Smash Brothers in like the competitive scene. I was terrible at it, but I used to really be into it. So I think that would be fun. I still love StarCraft more, but hey, Manbon! Alright, we're gonna see if Manbon is interested in playing. In gold. Okay, let's see if we can find the gold leaguer. Let's see. I think I know a gold leaguer or two. Give me a second, guys. All right. Actually, wait a second. Oh no, he got promoted. He's a diamond now. Oh man, that's hard. Okay, let's try... Let's try Boisterously too. Actually, what level is Cav? Oh my god. Okay, so it looks like we might have Pseudorandom playing against somebody he played on the ladder in the past. So yeah, that's actually going to be happening right now. Alrighty. Well, we'll go ahead and get this next game started. It's going to be a ZVZ on King Sejong Station. And it is going to be Pseudorandom playing a Zerg versus Issac playing a Zerg, because again, that's what a ZVZ means. It means both the players are Zerg. But I think that Pseudorandom did just kind of shoot around in his match history and find somebody that he had played recently, and that's actually a really awesome idea. Just if you want to play some games against a player that's around your level, just play people that you've already played. Hit them up in your match history and say, hey, do you want to play some games? And you know what? With that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn. Up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, King Sejong Station, on top of the yellow Zerg player representing the most amazing league ever, Masters League. It is going to be Pseudorandom. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner as the green Zerg player. He invented gravity. It is Sir Isaac Newton. It actually didn't exist until Sir Isaac Newton came around. I bet you guys didn't know that. I bet you guys just thought he invented the formulas that, you know, explained gravity. No, he invented it. But now, these two players, they're actually not in space. I was going to say they're in space, but you know what? It looks like this is... King Sejong Station is very much a planet. It's not just kind of some sort of floating asteroid, but even floating asteroids have gravity, so... I gotta say, this may not be Isaac's home turf, so to speak. So what could actually be going on in this map? This map is always really interesting because, you know, I always feel like King Sejong Station, we kind of talked a little bit about how, oh, there's, well, actually, we didn't actually talk about it at all, but it's actually not too bad of a map for drops, because you think about it, the different areas you can come in with drops is this entire area behind the natural expansion, this entire area over here, this entire area over here, all these different angles that drops can come in at. And you might be wondering, why the heck, Fear Dragon, are you talking about drops in a ZVZ? Well, the thing is, the same angles that you can come in with drops in a PVT, you could also come in with Mutalisk in a ZVZ, and that is something you have to remember. Because in ZVZ, Mutalisks are something that are still kind of known to happen. I mean, they fell out of the, I guess, fad for a little bit, as Zerg players just getting up sport colors and saying, you can't do anything to me, and then they just went balls to the wall, Roach, and maybe a little bit of Hydralis mixed in a little bit later. But we are still seeing a couple of players go for the Mutalisk plays, and I feel like this is actually a great map for it. We'll have to see if either of these players decide to go for it, as I know we just see a lot of Roach plays these days, especially on King Sejong Station. I'm not entirely sure why, because, I mean, The ground distance is not absurdly long. We have maps with longer ground distances, but this is still a pretty long distance. I mean, just look at how long it takes to move the cursor all the way around the screen. It's actually a little bit insane. But we do have a gas opening over here from Pseudorandom. No gas over here for Issac, so we already have a slight little deviation. So that earlier Zergling speed that's going to be coming out for Pseudorandom once he finally gets 100 gas, and that should be pretty soon, is going to allow him to be a little bit more aggressive, put on a little bit more pressure. Issac going to be the one that has to sit back, play a little bit more defensively. Now, both these players did go for earlier spawning pools, so Issac going to be able to send out these two Zerglings nice and safely. Not going to really have to worry too much about, oh my god, Zergling speed is finishing up right now. No, there's no way that Zergling speed will really be finishing up right now. And he's going to, in fact, get a nice little scout off and say, okay, this is what you're going for. I see your gas geyser. I see you're still mining gas with 3 drones. And you are already researching Zergling speed. So, what Issac can say there is that, you know what, I had to be a little bit wary of any kind of aggression. King Sejong Station has this nice big old ramp that makes it a little bit more difficult for a Zerg player to do any of those kind of crazy 2 evolution chamber plus Roach-Warren wall-off, so he's gonna have to be a little bit careful about any kind of big speedling aggression that could be coming out from Pseudorandom, especially with the Baneling nest gonna be popping up. I mean, the Banelings are going to be able to easily get through. You don't even need to really waste them usually on the big old Wallen. You can kind of just go for the throat or go for the Zerglings and the drones, etc. But Issac getting up a lot of these gas geysers and going to be trying to play catch up with gas. This is how you generally see the Zerg players go for that sort of gasless opening. They delay their gas geysers for a really long time, then they take these 2 gas geysers and just boom, they have a huge influx of gas that maybe the single gas geyser player doesn't really have. But we actually have an evolution chamber on the way and almost finished up for Pseudorandom, so maybe we won't see a lot of that big Baneling aggression, especially with the spine crawler coming down. I feel like that is not going to be the case from Pseudorandom. In fact, we may just be seeing a much earlier +1 armor, and yeah, there it is going to be. +1 armor coming out for Pseudorandom. Now, the reason why +1 armor is so important in ZVZ is not only is it useful, obviously, for the later roach-on-roach battles that you end up seeing, but if a Zergling hits a Baneling with +1 armor, the Zergling, the one with +1 armor, it'll actually survive. But if it doesn't have that +1 armor, it immediately will disintegrate into a pool of acid, and that is a huge difference. So if your Zerglings can soak up 2 Baneling hits rather than just 1, that becomes an immense micro advantage that you can kind of get in those big engagements. And even if you miscontrol just a little bit, hey, you know what, your Zerglings are at least still alive, and you can kind of pull back, maybe regenerate a little bit health on those Zerglings and go for it once again. So Pseudorandom gonna go for that, maybe just playing a little bit more cautiously as he starts to get up his lair tech and has those 4 gas geysers finally finished up. In the meanwhile, we'll take a look at Issac now. Issac has already gone up to that roach tech and has actually gotten up double evolution chambers himself. Now, one of these evolution chambers not really researching anything yet. And that's because he actually decided to go for that lair tech instead with that gas geyser. But 2 spine crawlers actually coming down from Pseudorandom. What exactly did he see that's prompting that? He sees a 3rd expansion just now, and he's going to actually poke in around over here with those Zerglings, just seeing, okay, yeah, it's still there. But he has seen the Roach-Warren, and maybe the double evolution chambers kind of made him think, you know what, I've kind of skipped out on going for a Roach-Warren. Looks like he's probably going to be going out for some sort of Spire tech, I imagine. Yeah, the Spire is going to be planted down. So by skipping that Roach tech, he has to be a little bit wary of any kind of big Roach timings that his opponent can just mass up a ton of Roaches and just push across the map and kill his opponent. So 3 spine crawlers does make sense in that regard. But will he be able to buy himself enough time with just these Speedlings against, I mean, honestly, slow Zerglings and a handful of these Roaches? That could actually still happen. And oh my god, you can see some of those Speedlings actually running past the Roaches, but no, they decide to back up instead of going into the main base. Bit of an interesting decision, takes a couple of shots off on those Zerglings, but maybe decides, you know what, I need to keep these Zerglings alive because they are the only thing that's buying me time until the Mutals actually finally come out. Because once the Mutals come out, then guess what? These Roaches not going to be able to push across the map. At least when the Mutals get out into a decent number. If there's like 4 or 5 Mutals, you know what? Roaches can honestly kill your opponent before the Mutals are able to do a whole lot of damage to the Roaches. But if you start getting up 10, 15, 20 Mutalists, you really can't afford to move out with those Roaches until you start getting out Hydralists or Infestors or even Mutalists or Corruptors of your own. Corruptors is actually much less common to see. You really don't see many Corruptors coming out against Mutalists, actually. Just sort of interesting to note because, you know, Corruptors don't do too bad against Mutalists. They have a higher range. they aren't quite as mobile, but they really just don't take that much damage. They have some nice armor benefits, but Mutals are finally going to be popping out. And what is going to be the response from Issac? Now, Issac does not know directly about the Mutals, I don't believe. Yeah, okay, he has seen the Spire drop down. He saw it very early on. It looks like maybe with one of the Overseers that he had passing over. Did he click on it? Did he realize that the Spire was there? Most likely, he's building up a lot of Spore Crawlers, and they're pretty well timed with how, or when these Mutals are actually going to be popping out and moving their way across the map. So it does make sense that, you know what, Issac probably has some idea of what Pseudorandom is up to. Pseudorandom going after some of these Overlords, going for the guaranteed damage. Doesn't want to just rush over to his opponent's base and say, oh, look, surprise, Mutals. No, he's going for the damage that he knows he can get. Because otherwise, he allows his opponent to pull back these Overlords. And you know what? You lose out on a couple of guaranteed kills that you could have gotten if you'd just been a little bit more patient. But after seeing those Spore Crawlers, should be pretty sure that he's not going to be really able to do a whole lot of damage. And a nice little supply block forced out over there for Pseudorandom. Gets Issac's supply block for a little bit, forcing out a couple more of those Overlords, maybe just delaying things a little bit. But Pathogen Glands going up from the Infestation Pit for Issac. Issac going for the Infestors, and I have to say, Infestors, they make sense, obviously, just because, you know, if you get the big money fungal growth off on those Mutals, you really just think and you fantasize about all those Mutals popping and how you'll just immediately take the game. But I have to say, it's something that I see a lot of Zerg players kind of shying away from, because fungal growth is one of those skill shot things. And oh my god, the Mutals actually coming in over here. Could they actually pick up the Infestation Pit? Oh my god, if they pick up the Infestation Pit before Pathogen Glands actually finishes up, that could actually be a really, really nice win over here for Pseudorandom. But no, the Spore Crawler looks like it's going to be covering the Infestation Pit well enough. The Extractor goes down, but at the end of the day, Issac is going to get up his Infestors. Pathogen Gland finishes up. The Infestors finish up. And now we have 5 Infestors out of the map with enough energy to fungal growth those Beetles if they just get a little bit too far out of position. Now, Pseudorandom does actually have some pretty nice upgrades across the board. He has +1/+1 on his ground. He has +1 weapons on, or flyer attacks, I should say, for his Beetles. And actually he's doing a nice job just kind of playing that mobile game. He's moving around with the Mutals along the top side over by the natural expansion. He's poking in with the Zerglings over by the 3rd expansion. Behind this, he's just kind of transitioning out into a much more stronger direct army engagement force. He's getting out the Swarm Host, and guess what, guys? We could be in for a bit of a long game over here, because King Sejong Station, this is almost an iconic map for Swarm Host. I've seen so many Swarm Host games on this map, and that's just because, you know what? You take Swarm Host, guess what? This expansion, much easier to defend. You have destructible rocks over here that kind of prevent a lot of these kind of counterattacks this way. Honestly, it's just really easy to plant your Swarm Host right here and move in, attack this expansion, maybe even attack that expansion, and heck, you can even attack this expansion if it's really up right at the time. But Swarm Hosts have been proven to be quite strong. And I like the fact that it's going to complement his army with, he has this sort of more mobile force that he can kind of buy time to get up that really large Swarm Host count with the Zerglings and the Mutals. And then he has a strong force that, that actually some Banelings actually moving in, maybe trying to get a little bit of damage done on the worker line. Not quite able to do it. Issac able to pull his workers in time, kind of stack them up in the right location and take out those Banelings with the Queens. But Issac, let's talk about his army composition. He has that big Roach Zergling Hydraless aggression coming out right now. And this actually may be hitting at just the right time. Some Zerg's going to be cleaned up over here. Issac already prepared to deal with it. He has a lot of Roaches over there at the same time. The Swarm Hosts are now going to be spotted, or at least the Locusts are. And Issac should actually be prepared to deal with this. He has the Overseer over here. He has a pretty big army. And honestly, the Swarm Hosts, they're in an okay number. I mean, we're sitting around 15 Swarm Hosts. But this army could actually easily try and circumvent these Locusts. No, he's actually going for the circumvention. He's actually just going straight on against the Locusts. I'm not sure how much I agree with this decision, but you know what? He's going to be able to push in over here anyways. Maybe needs a couple more Roaches sitting in this army to tank some of those Locust shots, but Fungal Growth's actually going down on the Locust. Not something you see every day. It has to be careful with the Infestor control. He does not want to be losing these Infestors. These Infestors are going to be so amazingly important in the defense. But oh my god, the Mutals actually coming in over here, trying to take out some of these Queens, or I should say the Queens are taking out the Mutals. I think this may actually be a bit of a mistake, an attack move over there from Pseudorandom. Now going after some of those Infestors, but is this worth it? He's losing so many of those Mutals. Maybe the Mutals are kind of dead supply at this point, but I I don't know. It's so nice to have those beetles, be able to pick off some of those infestors. He's going to be going for the big engagement over here. The locusts are actually just making a short work of a lot of these hydros, and with the additional forces of these roaches now pushing in, he's actually able to push back Issac quite a bit of a distance, and now finally the queens are coming back in over here, laying down some of those transfuses, but I mean, I feel like Issac has lost a lot of his big power force over here. He's lost so many of those infestors. He's lost a lot of the Hydralis, actually, mainly. He doesn't really have any Hydralis. Now he's going to be losing these 3 queens. This has been a huge loss for Issac, and I feel like now Pseudorandom just kind of says, you know what? You just lost almost your entire army. Unburrow my swarm host. Move across the map. Position your swarm host right over here. And just start sending them down over here to this 4th expansion. And start pressuring over here to the 3rd expansion. And just start putting on the pressure. Because I feel like what can really Issac do right now? Yeah, he has a decent army, but I mean, just the roaches alone from Pseudorandom look like they're already going to be able to do a good amount of damage in this engagement. Although now he's actually just sitting with just his roaches out by themselves. No Swarmos to back him up. He takes out the 4th expansion. That's a nice win, but he lost a lot of roaches in the process. Was it worth it? I'm not entirely sure just yet. 4th expansion is going up though for Pseudorandom, and he's going to have to try and defend that 4th expansion because he just managed to snipe off his opponent's 4th expansion. He has swarm hosts, which are really strong against what his opponent has right now, which is, you know, this kind of very roach-based composition, very roach-heavy. And yeah, the infestors are going to be nice with the fungal growths, but is it really going to be enough? Well, it looks like if he doesn't have to engage the swarm host at all, this actually may be enough. He cancels that 4th expansion from his... Oh, actually, no, just gets the kill on the hatchery entirely. No cancel forced out over there. Issac gonna be pressing forward a little bit. Does he press his luck though? I don't know what I think about him trying to push in further, and it looks like Issac doesn't either. He's gonna be backing up because you know what? Why push your luck over here? You've taken out your opponent's 4th expansion. You've started to reestablish your own 4th expansion, and you're up against a lot of swarm hosts. Get up the exact composition that you want to deal with the swarm hosts, and then go for it. He's actually getting burrow now. But we actually can look at what Pseudorandom is doing out over here on the other side of the map as, oh, hold that thought, a big fungal growth actually going down, and Pseudorandom losing a lot of roaches. So that was a really nice pickoff over here from Issac, and both these players just engaging in a lot of these small skirmishes around the map, but I feel like every single time that these engagements happen, the swarm hosts are not there. The locusts are completely in the wrong position. And that's just, I've got to hand it to Issac, a really good decision making and where he's actually choosing where these engagements are going to happen, but you know, a couple of those roaches over here from Pseudorandom doing some nice harassment. But at the same time, I want to note, in the production tab, we have been seeing ultras being produced, and we have an enormous number of ultras actually out now for Pseudorandom, as 6 are going to be finishing up. He already had 2. He's going to be going up to 8 ultralists with chitinous plating and some pretty damn good upgrades, plus 3 weapons going, or I should say melee attacks, going to be finishing up over here. And Pseudorandom has bought himself a lot of time with just a couple of those roaches. Now moving in with some more roaches, going to be freeing up a little bit more supply, because I mean, you know what? These roaches, they're great and all, but when you have Swarmos and you have Ultralas, what really do you need of these roaches? The Ultras are already going to be taking a lot of that damage. And it's something that we don't really see too often, honestly. I don't really see Ultraless Swarm Hosts as a unit composition all that often, so it's going to be maybe not a first for me, but it's going to be one of the few times I've been able to witness it. And I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. Pseudorandom going to have to make sure that his locusts are in the right position. Oh my god. Banelings wasting their shots off on these locusts. I don't know what I think about that, but he does have some more Banelings still left over. Now the Ultras coming in over here. They're going to be able to do a lot of splash damage against all these roaches that are clumping up. The roaches, they have to start cutting back. They're doing a good job over here. The Ultralists, not really able to be fungal growth or anything over here. The Banelings now exploding on top of the locusts, and it's an okay trade, but you're trading gas for free units. I'm not sure what I think about it. Maybe if this was like the big Baneling hits he needed to get right on top of the Swarmos, but it's not. He's just trying to push in. He hasn't been able to get to the 4th expansion up until now, and guess what? Most of his roaches are already dead. Yeah, he killed off a lot of those Ultralists, but now another wave of the Swarmos are going to be popping, or the Locusts, and guess what? He's going to be able to cut off a lot of these roaches as they try and maybe move their way back. A lot more roaches now coming in over here from the front side, and Locusts actually going to be expiring at the backside at the absolute worst time. They had just popped out maybe a little bit, like 10, 15 seconds later, it kills off another 5 or 10 roaches or something with just a couple of those shots, but no, absolute wrong time for him. Burrow is going to be a nice little cute move, but Pseudorandom, I mean, I don't know how long this is gonna last, because these ultras are coming over here. They're gonna be doing a lot of clean damage. He has a lot of roaches, but Issac actually coming in with a handful of roaches and these hydros of his own, gonna be able to push back those ultras and push back those roaches of Pseudorandom. Pseudorandom coming in once again with the Swarmos, but never with his entire army. He's not once has he actually really been able to do a whole lot of damage with these Swarmos. And now, actually, it looks like Issac is pushing it over here. He's getting on top of the Swarmos. He has Overseers over here. He's going to be able to pick off these Locusts. As soon as the Locusts are dead, what is there going to be over here to defend these Swarmos? The Ultras now coming out. But, I mean, what is it really going to be able to do over here? It's just a single Ultras. More and more Roaches coming in from Pseudorandom, trying to pop out from this expansion. Now starting to clean up a lot of these units. But look at this. The Swarmos count has taken the hit. He's down to just 3 Swarmos. A 4th one down over here. But really, what are 4 Swarmos going to do? GG gets called. And actually, Pseudorandom gonna be taking the game. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon. Just taking a look at this, it does make sense that Issac lost a lot of units over there. I mean, he still had a decent economy, so it is a bit interesting that he decided GG over there. I don't really know what to think about that. I mean, yeah, Pseudorandom had a lot of these roaches still left over. So you can see he's still on the attack move, but I don't know. I feel like maybe just kind of trying to hold on and macro out some more roaches and hydros. Could have tried to stay in the game, but regardless, that is going to be it. And Pseudorandom going to be taking that game. Very well played by both those players. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's tuning in right now. I'll go ahead and I'm just going to remove the matchup screen because honestly, it's so hard to keep that updated. But yeah, really interesting game over there. I really just don't see Swarmhost Ultralisk played all that often, and I really liked how Pseudorandom played it, except for the fact that I just wish that he was able to take some of those engagements with both his Swarmos and his Roaches, or Swarmos and his Ultras. I feel like it was always half of the army or the other half of the army in the engagement, but in the end, he was able to take it. And yeah, shout out to Zelzam in the chat. Yes, I know you want to lick me. I also enjoy licking you, Zelzam. But also shout out to Techno SC2. Yes, you did miss Elhaym versus Minigun. Sorry, man, but you know what? You can always catch the VODs, and I will be uploading those to YouTube at some point. But I think with that being said, we should be able to jump into another series in just a couple seconds. So we'll find out who is going to be playing next. As Pseudorandom did just get to play. We have Manbon. And actually, Padre from Team Solaris actually in the chat. Good to have you, man. As well as Gochu Boy. But we're going to see if Manbon is available. Hey, what's up, Current TV? Best observer in North America. And I want to thank everyone that's actually tuning in right now. And if you are actually interested in playing in any of these games or anything, just playing a game casted, join the channel Fear Dragon over on North America in Battle.net. I'm just picking out players as they kind of join in. Alright. Well, let's see. Do we have any Gold Leaguers around or available in the chat or anything? Also, shout out to Cav Manager Flipside Tactics. Watching me on the big screen. So you can see all of my acne and everything from all the pizzas I've been eating. Alright, Alright guys, so just quick update, we are trying to find an opponent for Manbon. After we get Manbon, we're going to be actually watching 2 Grandmaster level players play, which are going to be super duper awesome. Let's see. I think I might know somebody who would be around. I might be able to get a show match between Manbon and the captain of the After Hours Gaming League team for Amazon playing an off race. I don't know if he has any, you know what, actually, yeah, if anyone has any, races that are even, like, off races, and they're in gold, or around gold, hit me up. Let's see. Looking for a gold. Ooh! We have Heartolion. Oh! Heartolion! He's gold! Okay. So we're gonna have Heartolion versus Manbon. It's gonna be a gold versus gold show match. Okay. And let's see, we're gonna see if they want to do anything fun or interesting, if they want to play on any special maps, like maybe some old school maps or whatever. And shout out to SC Ninja BLT, good to have you, man. And also shout out to Yaki Starcraft. That guy is awesome. Okay, we may actually get a random versus random. And, okay, guys, we're gonna do a random versus random. A map. I'll pick a map with a D. Alright. We're going to be doing random versus random, and we're going to have a random map picked with my trusty D20. Alright, got a D20 over here. And let's see. Browse the maps from this ladder map pool. And it's a 3, so the map is going to be Catalina. Alright. What fitting music. We got the Zelda Zorro music. We got the map Catalina. But I really do want to thank everyone that's sort of tuning in over here. This is going to be something I'm going to be doing more often. Just going to be streaming and doing random show matches between anybody that wants to play. Alright, but it looks like the players should be ready in a second. Alright. Okay, Manbon pausing the stream, and we're gonna get this game started. And awesome! We are going starting. And it's gonna be a random versus random on a random map that ended up being Catalina. What will end up happening? Let's go ahead and stop the music from youtube.com/DSCA account, which you guys should check out because it's freaking amazing music. And find out what this series is going to be like. Because I have no idea. I could do, this is normally where I would do like analysis or, you know, give my thoughts on the matchup or something, but I don't freaking know. It's random versus random. We'll find out. Although there are some interesting dynamics that happen when you're playing against a random player where you kind of have to be a little bit more careful. Normally, like a Protoss player against a Zerg player, you'll go for like these special wall-ins and whatnot. Maybe you'll go for a Forge expansion. You go for a Forge expansion. Don't really want to do a Forge expansion against a Protoss player, so you kind of avoid a lot of those earlier openings. And if you random a Zerg player and you know that your opponent's Protoss for some reason, guess what? You don't have to worry about getting cannoned. Oh, what are the chances your opponent's going to open up with a Forge expansion if you random Zerged? So there's all kinds of fun shenanigans that can actually, and mind games that can go on just based on the fact that you don't really know what your opponent is. And hey, what's up, Boomerang SC? Good to have you, man. And Manbon actually made, playing on a computer made of gold. It must be actually made of gold because it doesn't seem to be running too well. I mean, it's pricey. It's worth a lot of money, but it does not really run very well. I don't think that gold is the best conductor. I don't actually know if that's true or not. I have no idea how true that statement is. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn over here in the middle left-hand side of the map. Catalina. On top of the orange Terran player, representing the Day Knights. Day 9 subscribers, I believe. I'm pretty sure Manbon's a subscriber. It is going to be Manbon. Look at that day. Quite the Spawning as Terran. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. We have the pink Zerg player representing team TMOR. It is going to be Heartolion. Heartolion. That actually just sounds like a hurt lion. Hurt your lion. Hurt your lion. I don't know, man. But it's a dog. That's clearly not a lion. So we already know that Heartolion is going to be up to shenanigans. What were they just talking about? Let's see. They were talking about races. Heartolion saying he's Zerg. I don't think Manbon ever said his race. Where are you? Okay, he did say he's T. Alright. Alright, so guys, these two players do know what each other's races are. This is already kind of an interesting start to the mix, as we had a random versus random, but they told each other their races. Now, they could be lying, so they're going to have to double check. But overall, it looks like they're kind of trusting each other. I mean, we do have Manbon over here saying Terran's not his best race. It's actually his worst race of the 3 races he could have rolled. But he doesn't seem like he's going to be going for any kind of Reaper expansion. Just going for a Barracks. Probably going to be throwing up an expansion sometime soon. He's building up those good old minerals. That or he's actually a Bronze Leaguer in gold. And I don't think that's the case. He is going to be sending that SCV down to the natural expansion. Not actually struggling to spend all of his money on 16 workers on 1 base. Should be pretty interesting to see where he goes from here. If he's saying he's not that comfortable with Terran, I'm not sure how much he's played it. I know that I try playing Terran sometimes, and I do so terribly that I actually do have trouble spending all my money on 16 workers, because Terran is hard. I don't know how Terran players play Terran. It's kind of perplexing to me. But Heartolion going to be going for the hatch first, gets up the spawning pool, and actually the gas geyser before spawning pool, it looks like. He's going to start mining that gas. I think that's gas geyser before spawning pool. I think. No, maybe? You know what? I'm not even going to bother trying to say it, but half of the drones transferred over here to the natural expansion for Heartolion. And this game is going to be kicking off pretty standard, honestly. Besides the fact that Manbon doing a much more old school strategy, going for the 1 Rax expansion and no Reaper. Honestly, if I was a Zerg player, if Heartolion normally plays Zerg rather than random, then at this point he should probably, you know, maybe a minute or so, he's going to be thinking, where the heck is that Reaper? Where is my opponent's Reaper? This is very strange. And actually, he does now see, hey, you know what? Gas Geyser is pretty late, and you know, this Gas Geyser only just now going down, and he did actually see that expansion, so you know, you should know by now, okay, you know what? My opponent, he didn't really have any gas. Can't really get Reapers without gas. He was just throwing it up at that point. And with that being said, how does Heartolion play? Does he maybe skimp out on a couple extra things? He's going to leave his guys in gas, just 2 guys in gas, so while he starts to get up that Zergling speed. Gets up a Spine Crawler, so maybe worried about any kind of early aggression. He did see, I think he saw one of the barracks being added on. Let's see. No, he didn't actually see any barracks being added on. This is a very interesting decision. So maybe Heartolion just not entirely prepared to deal with any kind of crazy Terran shenanigans. Moving it over here with 4 Zerglings, though, does pick off those Marines, and there's not really a whole lot over here for Manbon to defend. And oh god, the gas guys are going to be taken out at 30 out of 30. That is unfortunate, but I mean, luckily that's not a barracks or something or a command center that he needs to finish up. It's actually just a refinery. It's fine. He can send another SCV there at some point in the near future, but Manbon really does need to actually secure his natural expansion. Maybe get a wall up going over at the natural expansion, get a bunker up, something to try and defend against these couple of Zerglings, because he really doesn't want to transfer those workers down over there. In the meanwhile, he's going to be getting up double starports, double tech. Are we seeing a 2-port Banshee? This is a 2-base 2-port Banshee, so not to be confused with some of the early Wings of Liberty games that you saw 2-port Banshee off of 1 base, a complete all-in with Cloak Banshees. But still, this is almost certainly going to, I have got to say, this has got to be 2 Banshees coming out of time with Cloak going to be research. I mean, he's building up that gas count. He's sitting up at almost 300. 300 should be enough to start cloaking a Banshee. No, Corvid Reactor. Corvid Reactor, the starting energy of Ravens is increased, but how is that going to help him right now as the Zerglings are now coming into the natural expansion, being so annoying? Manbon not even going to bother trying to defend those STVs, doesn't even need to make them run, just saying, good luck, GLHF, I'm out of here. And the Zerglings over here are going to get taken out by some nice control from Manbon, keeping those Zerglings alive, or the Marines alive, and stopping those Zerglings from retreating into the main base. But he's going to have to lift up that natural command center. And at the same time, Heartolion, he is getting to just macro mode himself up after really only making a handful of Zerglings. Really didn't honestly make that many. I mean, let's take a look. He lost 3 Zerglings and he has 8 Zerglings out of the map. That actually makes no sense. That is an odd number of Zerglings. How do these 2 numbers add up? What? I'm missing something, right? Guys, I'm missing something. You cannot have odd numbers of Zerglings. Please tell me in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube if you know how the heck that is possible. But regardless, Heartolion is going to be able to just drone up very nicely. Sitting on 40 drones, can continue to drone up by right now and get up these double evolution chambers and not really worry too much about ground aggression. But does he realize that the starports are actually around there? He did try and poke up in the... He saw 1 starport. He saw a starport with a tech lab. That should tip him off, not the fact that there's 2 starports, but he should know, okay, I need to get up some sort of overseers or spore crawlers or something sometime in the near future to deal with banshees or something. But the Ravens out. It's not banshees, they're Ravens. What? I don't even know. This is very interesting, guys. I don't know where Manbon takes this. Does he try and take this into this super duper late game and rely on mass Ravens to be able to really put the hurt on his opponent in the big 200 army composition? Because that is a place where I really understand Ravens coming out. Ravens very strong in the super duper late game, but this early on in the game, I've got to wonder, what do the Ravens do? Well, they could okay, here's the thought. They can throw down an auto turret in the mineral line. That's some nice harassment, all right? It's not a Banshee harassment, but it's still some pretty nice harassment. I mean, auto turrets don't actually die that quickly to Zerglings, or even really a queen. Spine crawlers would actually be able to do pretty well against the auto turrets, but they have to burrow in the right location. Hunter Seeker Missile, I'm not sure how I feel about a Hunter Seeker Missile. Hunter Seeker Missiles can do pretty well, like against big clumped up units. You don't really see Hunter Seeker Missiles going down in mineral lines all that often. But the Ravens are going to be coming in over here. They're now moving into the natural expansion. It looks like the Queens are ready over here and ready to try and do a little bit of damage. The drone gets taken out, but this is what I was saying. The Hunter Seeker Missiles really don't do enough splash damage. I mean, take out 1 drone and get this drone to half health. Auto turret's doing some good damage over here, though. And look at this. These 3 auto turrets actually doing an absurd amount of damage. They're actually going to be able to kill off a handful of these drones. Just taking a look at the workers' kill count, because honestly, there's only one place where the workers have been killed, is from these auto turrets. He's already been able to kill 10 workers. That is actually a little bit insane, considering all he had to do was spend a little bit of energy, kept both of these Ravens alive, and at the end of the day, he's now sitting still behind by a lot of workers, because he took a lot of damage earlier on, and his opponent's been able to kind of drone up without really worrying about anything. But he still got to do a little bit of good damage. It was a cute little move. But again, here's the problem. Heartolion, he hasn't been able to be pressured at all. Manbon hasn't been able to do anything really besides that nice little kind of auto turret harassment, because going for these Ravens this early on is such an enormous investment. So what do you do to put on pressure? Heartolion just been able to drone up and do whatever the heck he wants. He gets up the lair tech, he gets up his double evolution chambers, researching or finished researching 1-1. And oh god, the Hydra's going after the Ravens! The Ravens! Oh, one goes down. 2 auto turrets drop to just try and defensively protect these Ravens. These Ravens are almost the entire army of Manbon. He has 21 Marines at home, but this is the important part of it. Hydra's actually might get hit by the... Oh, Hunter Seeker Missile getting some pretty good connection over there. But he doesn't have any more energy really to do a lot of harassment on the main base. So he's going to have to sit over here in this dead airspace, enjoy the view of the ocean, of the beach, and wait for some energy to pile back up. But in the meanwhile, Heartolion... He's got the heart of a lion. He's got the Banelings. Do those Banelings have the heart of lions? Because I haven't seen heart of lions attacking entrenched positions. I haven't seen lions attacking entrenched positions very often. Maybe if a lion tries to attack another lion's like in cave? Do lions live in caves? I don't even know. These are questions that only Heart of Lion actually knows the answer to. And he's going to be showing us very, very soon how strong are lions at attacking entrenched positions. Because this is actually a pretty decently defended position. He has a bunker. He has a nice little Widow Mine over here. He actually has another Widow Mine over here that's going to... It's not burrowed right now, but if he decides to burrow it someplace over here during the midst of the battle, he may be able to get some good shots off on the Hydros or the Roaches, or honestly, more ideally, the Banelings, but I feel like the Banelings are going to be used up almost immediately, as now they start to come charging in over here. The Widow Mine going to be able to get some good hits off very soon somewhere. Oh my god, the Widow Mine completely whiffed, getting 3 kills, but barely any of them even Banelings. The Widow Mines... honestly, just not doing enough damage, and the Marines all get cleaned up. The Hydros and the Roaches able to just massacre everything over here. The 3 Ravens now kill them. They're going to throw down a couple Hunter Seeker missiles, 1 Hunter Seeker missile, and a point defense drone thrown down. But, I mean, the micro is pretty good over here from Heartolion. He really just doesn't take any big damage on those Hydros, and Hunter Seeker missile is going to be able to get a decent hit, gets some okay damage, takes out 2 of those Hydros, but how does he deal with the rest of them? More and more units, more Banelings going to be streaming across the map. And I feel like this was an awesome maneuver by Manbon. I gotta respect him for the Hunter Seeker missiles. Gets actually some more really good hits off with those Ravens, but he's out of energy and out of time. He needs some way to deal with this army, and he just does not have it right now. The Banelings charging in, taking out the Marauders, and the Ravens sitting idly in the sky saying, well, don't worry, guys. The Banelings can't hit us because we're air units. And then all the SCVs die, and the Ravens are like, oh, I knew we were forgetting something. Manbon screaming parlay, can you give me the free win? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm playing Terran. DanJinWonKim says that Terran needs a buff, guys. So just come on, you gotta help out the win ratios. Look, if you play Zerg and you give me the win, then that's helping the statistics in favor of Zerg. So then DanJinWonKim won't actually buff Terran. See, this works out for Zerg. He's pleading. If I get T, it'll be the exact same situation. Servant off racer. GG gets called by Manbon. A very, very valiant effort going for the Ravens and throwing down a couple of final Hunter Seeker missiles before he taps out. And it looks like Heartolion going to be the victor in this show match of the Gold Eagers. Truly, a heart of gold exists in both of these players' hearts. But that was a damn fun game. That was a damn fun game. But a very interesting game. Oh, thank you so much to Heartolion and Manbon for that series. But guys, with that being said, we're going to be jumping into the next series. That is going to be Padre versus Gochu Boy. Padre versus Gochu Boy. Now, Gochu Boy is on team Perplexity Gochu. Not to be confused with Team Complexity. Perplexity Gochu. And these two players, I believe, are... I want to say that they're Grandmaster. I actually am not as familiar with Gochu Boy. He may... Is he on Complexity Academy? Complexity Academy Liquipedia. Because this is the chill cast, and I can just go to Liquipedia instead of being like, and guys, I need to be professional, so I'll talk about this player who I only vaguely I actually don't have to do that. But shout out to everyone that's in the chat right now and tuning in. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. It's awesome to have you all. And yeah, let's see. All right, let's see. Team complexity. Gochu Boy. Well, let's get some music going while we wait. Oh, I love that Zora music. No Gochu Boy. I don't actually know. But Gochu Boy's ranked platinum this season. Guys, watch out. Watch out. We might have a GM versus platinum. All right, these two players seem like they know what they want to do. They're going to merry-go-round. And it's possible that we may actually have, of course, Team Solaris's Padre off racing. And that could actually account for this. But, I mean, Padre is level 35 in all 3 races, so he has some experience. He has some experience, I'll just say that. But for those of you who don't know, Padre, a really good Protoss player on Team Solaris Gaming. And let's see, what's going on? Oh, Gochu Boy is Mr. Nice Guy? Oh, Gochu Boy is Mr. Nice Guy, who I believe is DanJinWonKim in the chat. That explains so much. Okay, he is in fact a Grandmaster level player, guys. He is a really good player, so don't worry, we're gonna have a good game on our hands. And Anatero is actually joining the chat, the game. Wait, one second, guys. Let's see if Anateros wants to cast. Anatero. Get a dual cast going. I'm gonna be audio balancing as soon as he joins the call though, if he does. So guys, you're gonna have to bear with it. He may be allowed for like a couple of seconds. And yeah, Gochu is DanJinWonKim. I'm now seeing like the Skype chat messages that have been flooding in on me. I was like, no, you do know who this player is. Fear Dragon, shut up, you're making a fool of yourself. Alright, well he's not responding, so okay. So guys, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this and find out how this is gonna go. It's gonna be a PvZ. Padre is actually gonna be playing Zerg, looks like. And yeah, Anateros is actually busy. There's a lot going on in his apartment right now. I don't know what that means, man, but good luck with it. Alright. Guys, we're going to be jumping into this next series between our next 2 volunteers for casting. It is going to be Team Solaris Gaming's Padre facing off against Gochu Boy, also known as DanJinWonKim. Also known as Mr. Nice Guy. He just has so many different names that I can't keep track of them all. And the map is going to be merry-go-round. And DanJinWonKim or Gochu Boy, I should say, was formerly of Team Clarity Gaming's Academy when Clarity Gaming was still around. Rest in peace, Clarity Gaming. But yeah. I want to give a shout out once again, Manbon. I really did appreciate the fact that you tried to go for all the Raven strats. I appreciate the unorthodox. But let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn up here in the top left-hand corner of the map merry-go-round on top of the blue Zerg player representing Team Solaris Gaming. It is going to be Solaris Gaming's Padre. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom center location of the 3-player map. It is going to be the green Protoss player, formerly of Team Clarity Gaming's Academy. It is going to be Gochu Boy, or DanJinWonKim, or Mr. Nice Guy. One more for emphasis. And it's going to be a PvZ. But, let's see, where the heck does this game go? Well, these two players know each other, and Gochu Boy is sitting on 10 supply of 10 supply. Getting up the pylon over at the natural expansion. We are going to be seeing a Forge expansion potentially. Maybe a Nexus first. This could still be a Nexus first. I have seen some Protoss players go for the Nexus first, and then they start the gateway wall in for ultimate greetery down here at the natural expansion. But will we be seeing that out of Padre? Or sorry, out of Gochu Boy? I don't know. It's possible. I feel like a Forge expansion is going to make more sense. And yeah, we are going to be seeing that Forge plopped right on down. Now, Padre has not decided to throw down a spotting pool yet. In fact, he goes for the hatch first. So this is actually going to be quite susceptible to the cannon shenaniganeries. And, oh god, this is gonna be painful because Padre, look at this. He sends his first Overlord to the top right hand corner. He's not gonna have vision of the Forge for quite a bit of time. He does send a drone down here over to the natural expansion, but you know what? Protoss players have been so cheeky with the kind of Forge shenanigans that they sometimes actually plant down pylons when they're going for a gateway expand just to mess with their opponent's head. So now Zerg players aren't even entirely sure, like, if the pylons are going down, did my opponent actually go for a Forge expansion? Should I overreact? Should I just pull 3 drones or 2 drones? Or should I pull 6 drones and make sure that nothing goes up? I don't really know, but Gochu Boy actually heading out with the probe, maybe looking for a 3rd expansion. Maybe just gonna hide the probe. This is a very interesting decision, not going for any kind of cannon shenanigans. And considering Padre went for the hatchery, then gas, then spawning pool, and the fact that Gochu Boy saw all of it, this is a very weird decision to me from Gochu Boy. But you know what? I'm going to trust in his decision making. He is obviously a much better player than I and knows his own playstyle much better than I. So you know what? He can still use that Forge, utilize it for maybe some early upgrades. Gonna grab these 2 gas guys and start getting into the more standard kind of Protoss mode. Maybe he actually just doesn't want to get like punched in the face by Padre the next time they see each other. It's just like, boom, punch in the face. Like, what the heck was that for? You cannon rushed me the last time we played. It's like, why'd you take it so seriously, man? Always a possibility. 2 Zergans gonna be popping out for Padre. Padre has taken all of his drones off of gas, and I'm curious when he decides to take that 3rd expansion. He does have this drone over here. Did he actually, was that drone a scouting drone? No, it doesn't look like. He didn't really scout around with it. He's maybe just looking for any kind of proxy locations, or maybe just checking out for cannon shenaniganeries or pylons or anything around this location. Just sees that there's nothing over there and decides to go for the 3rd expansion up along this side. And I like this 3rd expansion. I think that these spawn locations are actually really nice for a Zerg player, just because, honestly, the Protoss player, they come in over here, and now they have to get up to the 3rd expansion. They come all the way up here, and guess what? If they walk up past this point right here, then suddenly all the units from the natural expansion come down around, and suddenly you're getting flanked from this location. It can be very annoying. Now, come in, I got toys. Inviting the overlords in, saying, come on, come one, come all. There's nothing to be afraid of. I just want to be your friend. He's a Mr. Nice Guy, guys. That's his name for a reason. But 3rd expansion gonna be finishing up for Padre. Padre gearing up into the good old Zerg macro mode as he starts to get up that gas geyser mining so he can start to eventually get up his lair tech. But double Stargate's gonna be coming out from Mr. Nice Guy, and the Overlord is gonna be scouting this out. Oh no, this is terrible for Gochu Boy, I think. This is still a very scary build to face. I mean, you can get out a lot of oracles initially, and then you start to get out a lot of void rays, carriers, tempests, all kinds of crazy things. But I mean, if you scout it out as a Zerg player, there are a number of things you can do to react to it. You can get up the nice and early Spore Crawlers. You get up more queens. You start making queens from all of your hatcheries to deal with the void rays, the oracles, and it becomes harder and harder to do this the earlier this gets scouted out, and it got scouted out pretty gosh darn early. Now, 2 Phoenixes are going to be popping out. There are still some good Overlord pickings that are going to be available, but Mr. Nice Guy has to do a lot of damage with this. This is when you go for something like this, you're aiming to do a lot of damage, not just small little bits, because you're skipping out on a lot of gateways, you're skipping out on other potential tech paths. I mean, normally you'll have a Protoss player that has a robotics facility down sometime in the next minute or two, and maybe even a Twilight Council starting to get +1/+1 armor or weapons, a Twilight Council. You skip all that when you start going for this heavy gas units of the Stargate. Now, how does Padre respond? He already has his Spore Crawlers done. And he's actually not making a lot of queens. He's actually just sitting on 3 queens and going up for a fast Hydralisk Den. Now, the Spore Crawlers will buy himself enough time to deal with maybe 4 or even maybe 5 Phoenix. But once it starts getting past that point, guess what? The Phoenix just kind of ignore the Spore Crawlers and start picking up drones, picking them off, and then running away. And ooh, getting some nice little pickoffs over here, despite the fact that there's 2 Spore Crawlers at every single one of these bases, which I think is a wise decision. It's a pretty good decision from Padre. He's still able to get a good bit of damage done. Picks off a drone here and there, picks off an Overlord there, tries to go after the Queen, isn't quite able to get it, but more Phoenixes are going to be popping in, and now we have 5 Phoenix over here. The Hydrals are going to be coming out soon, though, and that is going to be the key point where I feel like Padre is going to have to really be careful about where his Hydrals pop out, because we've seen Hydrals decimate small numbers of Phoenix, but when you have larger and larger numbers of Phoenix, like even 5 or 6 or more Phoenix, you can actually pick up 2 or 3 Hydrals at a time, kill them off, and you just never let your opponent actually get a massive number of Hydrals. You kill them off because guess what? Phoenix do extra damage versus light. That's extra 10 damage versus light, or extra, up to 10 damage versus light. And the Hydrals just get taken apart almost immediately because as you attack twice as a Phoenix. You're doing 20 damage basically every single time you attack with a Phoenix. That's 4 shots on a Hydralisk. 4 shots to kill a Hydralisk. That's kind of absurd. But, you know, I feel like the Hydrals are now starting to come out into a pretty decent number, and, you know, Padre's going to be pretty okay. He's not going to be taking too much more damage. He might lose a couple of drones or a Queen or an Overlord here and there, but at the end of the day, these Phoenixes are just more going to be around to harass, although we've had a resumption in the Phoenix production, and double robotics facility actually coming out over here for Gochu Boy. These 2 probes, the ones that made each one of these robotics facilities, nobody told them that they're not SCVs. They don't actually have to sit there the entire time that these buildings are making anything. But, oh God, this is such a weird situation now because we have double Immortals coming out. Do we actually have a Robotics Bay coming out? No Robotics Bay coming out for Mr. Nice Guy. Now, a Robotics Bay would make a lot of sense to me because you get out a lot of Phoenixes, you force out all of these Hydralisks. Your opponent knows if you have double Stargate, they need to get up a lot of anti-air, so they make a lot of Hydrals. Now, if you make 2 Colossus at a time from these robotic facilities, guess what? Your opponent's Hydrals get instantly decimated. And what do you do from there? Do you make some big transition into, I don't know, what? Mutalists? You're up against a lot of Phoenix. Do you make a transition out into Infestors? Even that can be a little bit dangerous. No, we end up seeing these Hydrals starting to get picked up by those Phoenix. This is what I was talking about, that extra damage versus light. But they still have to be careful. The Zealots should be there to buffer some of that damage, but the Hydrals are actually target firing down a lot of these Phoenix, doing some really, really good damage and actually really lowering the Phoenix count. And the Zerglings coming in as well, they're very, very helpful. The +1 Carapace finished up for those Zerglings. That means that these Zealots, not quite as effective as maybe they wanted to be, a cannon being taken out over there, just to stop those, stop the cannon from preventing the Immortals from getting out of that base. But we're in a really weird game here, guys. This is not a very orthodox game, and I definitely appreciate that from Mr. Nice Guy, DanJinWonKim. I'm getting better at saying that. Every single time I say it, I feel like I'm saying it in the wrong order. Like I feel like I'm about to say like Kim Jong-il. Oh my God, now I'm mispronouncing that name. We're just gonna move on. 4th expansion is up for Padre. He's safely taken that, and It's in a pretty nice location. It's a good distance away from Gochu Boy. It's going to be kind of hard for him to attack with the remainder of his army. Maybe the Phoenixes could get there and lift up some units, but that's pretty much all they can do. They can't really do anything about the hatchery itself, but Padre, pushing across the map, has a lot of these Hydros over here as well as these Zerglings. Now, the Zerglings, they need to really make sure that they're staying on top of those armor upgrades. He's going to be getting up +2 armor, but very, very soon, the +2 weapons are going to be finishing up for Gochu Boy. And once he has that +2 weapons, he's going to be up an upgrade with those Zealots. And guess what? Those Zerglings, they're going to get decimated by those Zealots. He's going to have to be so, so careful, especially once Charge finishes up and he's going to be able to instantly get on top of the Zerglings. Oh, that's just an uncomfortable position. Boomerang SC, yes, it's not as bad as Chinese names. Yes, there are quite a few Chinese names that I am terrible at pronouncing. But Padre has a lot of Hydralisks, getting up some good upgrades, but he's going into Swarm Hosts. Now, the Swarm Hosts actually share the ranged upgrades with those Roaches and Hydros, but oh, look at this, a lot of Zerglings actually able to get into the main base. How in the world did they must have actually just run straight by through the natural expansion, got onto the main base, doing a lot of damage over the main base on the Nexus and on the probes, I should say. Actually, yeah, they just decimated that probe line, and now they're going after the natural expansion. They're going to get cleaned up over here, but at the end of the day, they managed to kill 21 workers so far in this game. I'm sure that he's killed at least a solid 20 or so workers, so very, very nice maneuver over there by Padre. And DanJinWonKim, he still has a pretty hefty number of workers, 60 probes still left over at the end of the day. And you know what, the main base is starting to get mined out anyways. It's not the biggest loss, and he's making a lot of very gas-intensive units. I think he's going to be not in the worst situation after all of that, but still, it's going to be a very, very annoying thing to have to try and reproduce all those probes. And the question is, does he decide to push out before he's 200 maxed out? I mean, he has a very scary army composition. He's going to have Colossus in the mix from these double robotic facilities. He's going to have a lot of Phoenix to deal with any kind of Mutalisks that come out. He's going to have Void Rays to deal with the Corruptors. He's going to have Zealots to deal with the Zerglings. He's going to have Immortals to deal with the Roaches. I mean, he just has a mix of every single one of these really powerful tech units that Protoss wants to get. Now, Padre looks like he's going to be the first one to put on a little bit of aggression. He has the Swarm Host out on the map and in a very, very aggressive situation over here. They're going to be able to push in over here, take out this cannon, probably no problem. Probably no problem. And, you know, the Zealots, they're going to start to lose their lives to these free units. It's never an ideal situation. Another wave of these Locusts are going to be popping out in a couple of seconds. And Padre can do some good damage over here, I think. He's going to at least be able to delay Gochu Boy from being able to just continuously get out the units that he wants to get out, because he's going to have to warp in more and more of these Zealots. He's going to be trading off the supply. The Hydros now getting, trying to kite back against all these Zealots, but the Zealots now getting on top of the Swarmos. The Swarmos not being unburrowed, not leaving. Oh no, they're all going to be taken out. And this is a really, really unfortunate loss. Padre going to be dropping down heavily in supply over here. And Gochu Boy is just getting up that Doom army that he has been wanting to go for this entire game, it looks like. I have no idea what to make of this. Gochu Boy has just been looking so, so strong with this army composition. And even though Padre's been doing some nice harassment, running Zerglings into the main base, defending against any of the Phoenix aggression pretty gosh darn well, he doesn't really have a solid answer outside of just, I have a lot of units in a big bank to Void Rays, Colossus, Immortals, Phoenix, Zealots with charge and really good upgrades. It's a lot, and normally you would think, okay, well, if you have this, you've invested so much in all these different things, then you know what you're not gonna have? You're not gonna have a lot of units. You're gonna be having, you're gonna be like a jack of all trades, master of none. But that's not really the case right now, because Gochu Boy's getting the time to max out, and once you're maxed out, it doesn't matter if you have like this enormous bank. When it comes to the 200 army fight, it's going to be a 200 army versus or it's going to be a 200 army versus a 200 army. You don't have any kind of supply advantage. Yeah, you can reinforce a little bit faster, but if your army's getting decimated that badly because your opponent just has all these Colossus and all these units to just deal with whatever you have, then does it really matter? Now, I think that the Swarm Hosts, or sorry, the Vipers are going to be a really, really nice addition for Padre. This could be exactly what he needs to really turn this around. Maybe he get some good pulls off on the Colossus. He can maybe turn this engagement around. Maybe even throw down a Blinding Cloud on the Immortals or something. But even then, I feel like he needs to also have something maybe tank for this army against the Zealots, because there's still a good number of those charge Zealots in the mix. There's even High Templars being added in, Storm being researched. And there's just so many different things that Padre's going to have to worry about. But it looks like he's charging across the map. The Corruptor is going to be over there to maybe soak up some shots for those Vipers, make sure they don't just get immediately picked off by the Phoenix. And we'll have to see how this engagement goes. It's going to be very, very important to see how these two players decide to take the engagement angles. It looks like Padre just charging in, not quite getting a big concave, but gets a pull off, pulls in one of those Voiders. That's a nice little win over there. Gonna get another. Oh my god, there's actually a really, really nice wins over there for Padre, as you know, those Voiders do take a little bit of time to actually be remade, and some nice feedback's actually going down on top of the Vipers, and it looks like all but, well, actually, I take it back. I was going to say all but 2 or 3 of the Vipers get fed back, but there's actually still 4 Vipers with full energy, and even those Vipers that got fed back still have a good amount of, well, they're still alive. They don't have a good amount of energy or health left over, but they're still alive, and that counts for a lot. Now, more feedbacks going down. God, these High Templars are being so effective with the feedbacks. Yeah, a couple of Voiders are getting pulled here and there, but I'm starting to think that this is still working out better and better for Gochu Boy, just because he's continuing to get closer and closer to max. In fact, he is maxed at this point. He's sitting 3 supply away from max, and yeah, he could warp in a Zealot and pretty much close it off and maybe make one more probe. But he's going to be finishing up that +2 shield upgrade, I guess? I feel like this doesn't really get any better than this. I mean, at this point, you might as well maybe like kill off a Zealot or 2 and get a Warp Prism, just so you can warp in and reinforce like that, but I don't know what you do from here. What exactly do you wait for? I mean, maybe you wait for the Warp Gates to finish up. Maybe you wait to try and take a 5th expansion or something, but I don't know. It's going to be a bit more it's going to be pretty difficult to get to a better situation than you have right over here. So he's just going to go for it. Colossus just raining hell of lasers down on top of these Hydros. Yeah, the Phoenixes are getting picked off by the Corruptors, but the feedbacks go down on top of all the Vipers. The Storms just massacre all of the Hydros, and even the Mutals trying to come in, but to what end? Even the Voiders can massacre those. Archons now being made, and guess what? Dancing coming out from Gochu Boy. He is not such a nice guy after all, and he's going to be storming through. This is what I was talking about. Padre has an enormous bank. He's making 112 Zerglings, 23 Mutals. Is that going to be enough, though? These Zerglings are going to get massacred by the Colossus. The Archon's going to be able to deal with the Mutals unless the Mutals get into a very, very nice position. Now the Zealot's even going to be able to deal some pretty nice damage to those Zerglings, although the Zerglings do have +3/+3 research. Going to be able to tank some good shots from those Zealots, but I mean, the Zealots are just there to buy time for the Colossus. The Mutals are now getting chased around. Maybe he goes for a base trade. It looks like that might be what Padre is doing. But look at this. We have an enormous number of warp gates actually around for Gochu Boy now. He warps in a lot of Stalkers. Stalkers an interesting choice, maybe just trying to deal with the Mutals count. Mutals gonna actually try and move over here to this 4th expansion. Not quite able to do a whole lot. The Stalkers now able to get into a very nice position. Guess what? These Zerglings really not able to do a whole lot of damage. Now the Mutal is starting to come in over here. At the same time, Padre going after these expansions one by one, sending a couple of Zealots down over here or up here to the top middle side just to try and expedite the process a little bit. And I would actually love to see him just send the rest of this army over to the natural expansion, stop any more units from coming out, but it looks like Padre has exhausted his gas bank. These Mutals are pretty much going to be the remainder of what comes out. He might see a couple more units come out, but this is basically what Padre's got to work with, and it's not too bad of an army. He's trading against the Stalkers, though, and that's the less than ideal situation. Gochu Boy still has actually some decent mining going on over here at this expansion, and honestly, he's going to be able to warp in another round of Stalkers to deal with these Mutals. And look, we see some more Stalkers being warped in. The Archon's actually retreating back home. They're going to be able to deal with those Mutals, but does that leave this army out exposed? No. The Archons are also with this army, and you can see over here, +3 Archons. They will be able to massacre these Mutals that have only +1 air flyer attacks. I don't think that Padre can do it anymore. There's just too big of an army everywhere for Gochu Boy. Gochu Boy's now moving into the natural expansion. He's taking out the remainder of the tech. There is no real buildings around for Padre. Yeah, he has a couple of drones over here and a queen. Awesome. Good luck with that. Are you really going to be able to build just hatcheries and keep away with these Mutals for the entire game? I mean, at the end of the day, Gochu Boy can just position his army back over here at one of these bases and just defend a building. That's all he really has to do at this point. Defend a building with some probes. And he still does have 30 probes. He still has a lot of Nexus left over. Yeah, this Nexus gets picked off, but I don't know. This is going to be a very, very difficult comeback, I should say, for Padre. But you know what? Padre looks like he's going to try it. He's building hatcheries around the map. He's going to just try and delay this game out a little bit longer, but the Archons are dealing a massive amount of damage to these Mules. The Mules will be able to regenerate it as long as they stay alive. They're picking off the Archons. The Stalker's also adding in some good damage. 2 more Archons joining the fray, though, and I don't think the Mules can take this engagement. He's losing so much. He's losing so much DPS for this base trade, and all the Archons are going to be able to kill off every single one of the Mules. GG gets called, and Mr. Nice Guy going to be taking the game at the end of the day with some very, very scary Protoss army play. And a very weird opening, too. A double Stargate opening into double robotics facility. And I think this is all off of somewhere between 1 to 3 warp gates. Was it only 1 warp gate? I don't even remember. I think that may have just been off of 1 warp gate. Double Stargate. He had more tech buildings than he did warp gates at like the 10-minute mark, I'm pretty sure. So that was quite beautiful, I've got to say. So thank you so much to those 2 players, Padre and Mr. Nice Guy, DanJinWonKim, for that. And I actually do know their Twitters, so we're going to go ahead and toss their Twitters in the chat. Mr. Nice Guy. Alright, so let's see. We have Solaris, Padre. You guys can follow him over on Twitter. And yeah, looks like Yaki already tossed that one out in the chat. Now, I think that Gochu Boy is the Twitter handle for Mr. Nice Guy. Yep, it is in fact Gochu Boy. And yeah, Gochu Boy himself actually tossing that in the chat. So guys, give him a follow. Thank him for some awesome StarCraft games. That was quite entertaining from both Padre. And be sure to follow Yaki StarCraft over at Liquid Ret, guys. Be sure to follow Yaki StarCraft at Liquid Ret. Does that meme ever get old? It honestly, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm just gonna answer my own question. But let's see. Do we have time for any more? Let's see. We did have Boomerang SE. Boomerang StarCraft. I know that you still have to play. You still have to play your revenge match against Jinglesassy. Oh, and thank you, Padre. And thank you everyone that's actually been chilling in the chat, as well as everyone that's tuning in, just looking at the chat list. We have the amazing Curran TV, the best observer in North America, Boomerang StarCraft, an amazing StarCraft commentator himself, DanJinWonKim. We just saw him play with some pretty awesome builds. We have Digit Padre, which of course is actually Solaris Padre. We also saw him playing. Elhaym, we saw him playing earlier on. He had submitted some really awesome games. We saw a game of him versus Minigun. We have Manbon play versus his opponent, who, let's see, is he still in the chat? Yes! We have Heartolion in the chat down at the bottom. Kind of skipping because it's GGP. It begins with a Z. The chat is in alphabetical order. So shout out to those guys. Makomi. I've seen Makomi play quite a bit. He's actually helped me out quite a bit with StarCraft and actually used to go to school with him. Former captain of the Purdue StarCraft Club. Really awesome guy. Ophthalmologist, welcome. Good to have you, man. I actually don't know who you are, but you sound awesome. I'm already impressed with your name. Pazor, saying to you, man, nice to have you. Pseudorandom, we got to see Pseudorandom play a pretty sick ZVZ versus his opponent. Oh, man, who did Pseudorandom play? I'm going to have to go to the match history. I'm going to have to go to the match history for this one. It was on King Sejong Station. Isaac, Sir Isaac Newton. And, of course, Pseudorandom had the advantage, the home turf advantage, because Sir Isaac Newton was on a place... Well, actually... Sir Isaac Newton had the home turf advantage, because he was on a place that had gravity. And Sir Isaac Newton invented gravity. And, Soviet Gaming's Acid. What's up, man? I know that he said he wanted to play in some games today, but had a bit of a headache, so wasn't quite able to. It's good to have you here anyways, man. Tanja84DK, I don't think you're ever actually watching the stream, but you're always in my chat, so thank you for being in my chat. I never feel alone in my chat anymore. Techno Starcraft, formerly of Deimos. Good to have you, man. Yaki Starcraft, amazing Starcraft commentator as well. Zelsam, I will always be up to lick you, Zelsam. Every day. Hey, Octomologist, actually saying something in the chat. And, you know, I think, guys, I think it's time for another game. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay, yes, I got everybody, because I already got Heartolion. Guys, we're going to be jumping into yet another series. This is going to be a revenge match, okay? So here's the story, alright? Here's the story. Oh my god, okay. Alright. Telling the story of this match. Okay, guys. So, here's the story behind this. Boomerang, StarCraft, and Jinglesassy, when I did one of the initial ones of these kind of like chill streams, we had some fun, we got some players to play around, and we had Boomerang and Jinglesassy both jump on. Now, Jinglesassy, a mod and tons of channel, really awesome guy. Boomerang, StarCraft, also, you know, mod in a decent number of channels, and also a really awesome StarCraft commentator. These two guys said, hey, let's play against each other. They're good friends and everything. They play, and Boomerang is honestly, he's a higher league, I believe, than Jinglesassy. Jinglesassy, not always, I think, at least not ranked just yet, but I don't think that Jinglesassy is in Diamond. I think that Jinglesassy is actually a gold level player. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jinglesassy, because I see you in the chat. Now, Jinglesassy actually managed to beat Boomerang because I made them play on, what was it? I made them play on Scrap Station, which is a map from Wings of Liberty, like, early, like, one of the first maps that we had. And then I made them play on, like, another map. So, you know what? This is their revenge map. Jinglesassy has beaten Boomerang, and Boomerang is not happy about it. Boomerang is out for revenge. We're going to be jumping into this game as soon as the players give the go-ahead and say that they're ready. And yes, Jinglesassy is, in fact, gold. I think that last time Boomerang was also off racing, I want to say, or maybe they were both playing random. They were doing all kinds of crazy stuff, but this time we're going to be jumping into a game on a relatively old map. Once again, it is going to be Discord 5. Discord 4. Discord 6? I can read Roman numerals, guys. I can read, hold on. I and V. If it comes before, then it's 4. Okay, it's Discord 4. Discord, guys, don't try and do math on stream, including reading Roman numerals, because it has a number, and that means that it's math, apparently. Okay, Boomerang wasn't off racing, it was his main race, and that is why he was so upset. But guys, it is going to be Discord 4. We're going to have a TVZ, Boomerang being the Terran player, and Jinglesassy being the Zerg player. This is going to be amazing. I haven't seen this map in forever. Let's go ahead and jump into it as we spawn. Oh, down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, Discord 4, on top of the orange Terran player, representing the currently losing team. Currently down in the score. If this is a score, this is I'm just gonna put it at like 9 for Jinglesassy right now, because Jinglesassy's in gold and Boomerang's in diamond. So Boomerang sitting over here is gonna be, yeah, Boomerang. And his opponent spawning up here in the top left-hand corner as the blue Zerg player representing Team Linux, and currently up 9-0. It's not really 9-0, but currently up 9-0. It is Jinglesassy. Look at that sound. A map I can expand on without a huge opening. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, if you weren't around for the early days of StarCraft Wings of Liberty, just really quick, open up another tab, look up Scrap Station, and just look at that natural expansion. Look at a Terran player trying to defend on that map, because it is hell. It is hell on Earth. Oh god, that was a painful game with Mutilus, and we had island expansions trying to be taken. We had natural expansions that were impossible to defend for a Terran player. All kinds of crazy stuff, but let's see. We have a gas geyser going down over here for Boomerang. And oh my god, look at this distance. Look at this distance and how big your main base is. I forgot what the old maps were like. But that is because you do have your natural expansion inside of your base. This is one of the cool features about Discord 4 that you have. And of course, then you can take a third expansion down over here, just down on the low ground. This actually is almost something that you would actually see more often in Heart of the Swarm, like this kind of base layout. But regardless, we do end up having it here on Discord 4. Now, one thing that's different between a lot of Heart of the Swarm maps and this map is that the distance between the bases is actually not that far. I mean, you have your ramp, you move down, you have like a gold base, then you have your opponent's gold base, and then suddenly you're at your opponent's natural expansion, i.e. their main base. And that is actually something that is going to really, really heavily favor aggression, I've got to say. Is this a 2v2 map? Is this a 2v2 map, Makomi? Makomi, I know you play a lot of 2v2s. I know you played a lot of FFAs and 2v2s and 4v4s and 3v3s. And you're still really, really good at the game. But I'm going to trust you on this. This must be a 2v2 map. That would actually explain this base right here. And I was actually... I actually do remember playing 2v2s on this map, because I remember fighting with my teammate over these gold expansions. But, a Reaper going to be coming in over here from Boomerang. We'll have to see how much damage it can get done, as, the Queens are just now starting, but this hatchery doesn't actually have any drones over there just yet. But there's no Zerglings out on the map yet either. The Zergling's going to be just popping out in a couple of seconds. No Zergling speed research. This is going to be a very painful situation for Jinglesassy. He actually doesn't have any guys on gas right now, just sitting at 68 drones, or 68 gas, and his Reaper should be able to take out these Zerglings as long as he controls it relatively well. And yeah, he's going to be able to retreat back with that Reaper, regenerate that health, and go back in for round 2. But this time, the Queens will be there to defend these expansions. Now, I'd love to see Jinglesassy will transfer some drones, but honestly, I don't think there's any drones to transfer. Jinglesassy has made a lot of Zerglings, like an absurd number of Zerglings. We're up to a solid 12 Zerglings, and no speed. Okay, looks like Jinglesassy has started to get that gas back up, but is not opting to get Zergling speed just yet. In fact, throwing down a Spinecrawler, this is a very, very weird and interesting build from Jinglesassy. Now, a second Reaper is out for Boomerang. He's going to continue to lay on the pressure, getting up a factory and a reactor behind this. So following up with some pretty standard Terran play, but now the Reaper's coming in over here, taking out drone after drone, and then going to be backing up because they say, you know what? I see those Zerglings, and right around now, honestly, Zergling speed should, or something akin to Zergling speed, should be like finishing up, I think, sometime in the next near future. But I guess Boomerang doesn't really have the idea, or doesn't realize that, you know what, Zergling speed has not actually been started. It never is getting researched ever, Jinglesassy. In fact, we have the Roachborn, we have Lair Tech going down over here. The Reaper is going to continue to stay alive, and that is one big problem, because now the Reapers have... no, they haven't seen it. They have not seen the Lair Tech yet. This is such a weird build from Jinglesassy, but I think it might work. Oh, he saw the lair. He saw the Lair Tech transforming in. This is a really weirdly timed lair. Does Boomerang realize that there is not that many drones though also? I'm not entirely sure what exactly Jinglesassy is planning. Maybe going for some kind of early 2-base Mutilus play with a very, very low drone count. Maybe he's going to go for a fast roach speed and just push across the map and try and end the game while Boomerang is just sitting on Reapers and Hellions. Who knows? Only time will tell. I know that Boomerang is looking to play a bit more of a standard game, getting up these barracks, has the tech lab up as well, ready to get up any kind of stim upgrades, etc. But oh, whoa, hold on, spoke too soon, Fear Dragon, you dummy. We have a Ghost Academy. This is not a standard game. We have a Ghost Academy with Cloak on the way for Boomerang. Could we actually be seeing nukes? Are nukes a possibility? Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to see something of the sort. We have a half-completed bunker over here, completing the wall off. Very interesting maneuver. But Boomerang is going to be able to put on a nice little bit of pressure, just keep an eye on his opponent, and keep Jinglesassy from really being able to power up on a large number of drones, just this handful of units, while he gets a Ghost with Cloak, and he can just walk in, and with a second Ghost Academy on the way, yes, I am confirming it right now. Nuclear missiles are going to be on the way. I expect one to be starting from this year, and yes, nuclear missile starting. One more Ghost Academy, by the way, with a nuclear missile means that he will have 3 nukes. 3 nukes is how many you need to take out a hatchery. or a Nexus or a Command Center. I actually don't know if that's true about lairs. How many nukes do you need to take out a lair? I'm not entirely sure, but Roach is going to be moving across the map. We're going to have to see a nice little defense over here from Boomerang, but here's the thing. He has a Ghost and he has Cloak. He actually has 2 Ghosts and 2 has Cloak. He can actually eventually kill off these Roaches. These Roaches will eventually die, and he can actually go for maybe some... Actually, he can't go for snipes, because these are not light units. Well, the Ghosts are going to eventually kill off these Roaches, but the Roaches do manage to pick off the supply depot, not opting to move into the main base, though. Gonna go ahead and retreat, wants to keep those Roaches alive, not just kind of sacrifice them to the lambs. Marauder's actually coming out for Boomerang as well, as he was maybe just a little bit concerned about being able to defend over there. But I think that Jinglesassy really does, if there's anything that Jinglesassy does need to do, it's probably drone up a little bit more heavily. I think that sitting on just 27 or 26 drones is not going to be enough to really be able to deal a whole lot of damage to your opponent. Jinglesassy has got to say, you know what, these Roaches, they're nice, but I don't think that they're going to be able to do a whole lot of damage here. I mean, we have Cloak Ghosts, we have Marauders now, we have a wall that's actually being repaired alongside the bunker. What are you going to be aiming to do over here, Jinglesassy? Jinglesassy just continuing to give the sass, though, saying, you know what, I will break down this wall. I will continue to produce Roaches. And eventually, when I break down my opponent's wall, you will see. You will see who was the actual victor. And now we have some Ghosts. We have some Ghosts laying down the nuke. Jinglesassy does spot it, though. Is going to be backing off, and the Ghost is not going to be able to get any kind of kills besides the larva. 7 kills. Is that 7 larva? I think that might actually be 7 larva, or maybe a Roach or 2. But regardless, the Roaches continue to poke over here, and actually an Overseer in the mix, but it gets picked off. A really nice focus firing going on from Boomerang. Going to be able to pick off that Overseer, and guess what? Now these Ghosts are once again much safer, although they are running out of energy. But the SCVs continue to repair up the bunker, and Jinglesassy is unable to break this. This is looking grimmer and grimmer for Jinglesassy. 55 SCVs. Boomerang is sitting very, very comfortably on the worker can. 28 out of 24 SCVs over here, but I mean, no real third taken, I suppose. That is one nice thing that Jinglesassy has going for him, is the fact that Boomerang is still also on 2 base, but Jinglesassy is now on 1 base because these 2 Ghosts are now denying all mining from that expansion. 3 Overseers going to be made just because, you know what, when you make 1 Overseer, it eventually gets picked off. So why not make 3? Just to make sure you triple detect those Ghosts. And this time it looks like Boomerang going to be feeling much, much more comfortable in this game. Most likely going to be taking this game without too much trouble, as now the double nukes going down. The Overseers, they're in range of one of the Ghosts. They're not in range for the other one. But is it really going to matter? This Ghost looks like it's going to be able to land its nuke. And one more nuke could actually finish off that hatchery, but I'm not entirely sure that Jinglesassy has a whole lot to do to even stop that Ghost from taking out the hatchery. The Ghost can easily just cloak on in and take out the hatchery. Well, I guess the Overseers are there. Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen. We now have a very, very standard mix of units moving across the map. We have the 5 Ghosts, 4 Marauder. The 5 Ghost, 5 Marauder timing push. These are actually married couples. I bet you guys didn't know that Marauders are also females. Actually, maybe the Ghosts are females. I mean, Nova's a Ghost, and Kerrigan was a Ghost. Maybe all Ghosts are females. I actually never considered that prospect. That is entirely possible. Maybe that this is a happy married couple set of 5. This is their ladies' night out. Well, then the Marauders are also Ghosts, or females. You know what? I don't know. This is an interesting game, guys, and I think that very soon Jinglesassy is going to have to tap out. The Ghosts are going to be retreating back home, but it looks like the Overseers have, for the most part, already been picked up. Now these Marauders can try and focus fire down that Spore Crawler, and once they focus fire down the Spore Crawler, there's not going to be anything to detect anything over here. The Ghost is going to get focus fire down, cancels the nuke, but, I mean, Cloak gets used over here. The Marauder's doing some good damage to the Roaches, and Jinglesassy say, I win the game. It's over. That's it. Let's call it. I agree. And guys, I think that's actually going to be it. I think Jinglesassy is going to have to tap out pretty soon. It's nice to have this number of Roaches, But at the end of the day, when your opponent is sitting up a solid 60 workers, 50 workers, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to exaggerate. It's a caster habit. When your opponent's sitting up 50 workers, there's got to be something you got to do. At this point, this is where I would *2 the replay if I could. But this is a live game, and we shall endure it for a little bit longer. Looks like Jinglesassy wants to get a little bit more damage done over here. But the 3 Overseers are going to be enough to take out that ghost. And, yeah, guys, I don't know what else to say. How is your day going? How's your day going? Manbon, how's your day going? I see you in the chat. Yeah, there were ghosts that were dying to drones. That was a little bit unfortunate. And I've got to hand it to Jinglesassy. Jinglesassy has kept that hatchery alive. And that is worth about 5 points in my book. 5 points. For a little bit of perspective, I think winning is like 20 points. Having fun is 100 points. But keeping the hatchery alive, 5 points. Will Jinglesassy be able to retain those 5 points? I don't know. Because the ghost is coming in. And I believe that more nuclear missiles are ready. We have 2 nuclear missiles, a 3rd one on the way. The ghost has been dropped. And there it goes. It's actually on the low ground, so this is going to be very, very difficult to actually pick off. I don't think that there's actually anything that Jinglesassy can do about it. Jinglesassy now pushing across the map with a handful of these roaches. Is that an EMP? Did he just EMP the roaches? I mean, he didn't EMP the Overseers. Well, we have the final nuke going down. Those 5 points are finally going to be lost. Jinglesassy is not going to be able to maintain those, but the Mutals are out. The Mutals go after the ghost. Oh, it's too late. 100. I guess something was being researched over there. Maybe it was Burrow. Maybe it was a new game. Maybe Jinglesassy was researching a counterpick map. I think that's what Jinglesassy needs to be doing right now, is researching the upgrade. It may take like around 200 seconds more to finish the research, but Chrono boosted out. Really think, what is my counterpick map for the next time that this show match happens between these 2 players? The Roach is coming over here for Jinglesassy. Once again, there's actually not that much to defend over here for Boomerang at the actual expansion, but a lot of Marauders have been produced for now for Boomerang, and he's going to be able to come in over here, kill off all these roaches, and after that, I mean, what does Jinglesassy have left? Just these handful of drones, and I guess the Mutals. The Mutals are there. We have 6 Mutals out, and they're picking off a tech lab. Marines and the Ghosts going to come in over here, take out a couple of those Mutals. The Roaches have all been picked off, and mining will resume over here at this 3rd expansion. Another nuclear missile going down. And I'm going to have to put a timer on this match, guys. I'm sorry, Jingle. End the game before I declare you the winner. Because we all know that Jinglesassy is in an unlosable position. Boomerang has got to finish off his opponent in 2 minutes. Can Jinglesassy stay alive, guys? The excitement is back. We've put a timer arbitrarily on the game, and the drones are trying to come out. Jinglesassy's trying to get ready to hide buildings, but it's not going to happen. Mule's now coming out for Boomerang. Can Jinglesassy sneak out some drones? Jinglesassy may be able to sneak out the drones. Oh my god! It might happen. The drones, they're hiding down here over here. At 22:30. Oh, sorry, 23:30. Ends. Alright, hatchery going down over here. I hope that... Oh, Boomerang does not have stim. Stim would actually be a great thing to have right now. Boomerang now chasing around these drones with his SCV train. He's going all out. He needs to make sure that not a single unit survives. He needs to go after that main base. No AA, no anti-air. Oh, no anti-air. Wait a second. Is there no anti-air? No, no. Okay, wait, no. The ghosts are there. The ghosts are there. Alright, it looks like about a minute left over, and these SCVs have been able to pick off some of those hatcheries that we're trying to build for Jinglesassy. Jinglesassy down to just 4 drones. Where are those 4 drones we have? One trying to escape, another 2 down over here. There's one drone is trying to escape. The SCVs have to cut it off. You cannot allow this drone to survive too much longer. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Oh, God. Boomerang, he has a Marine. He has a Marine and this single SCV. He's able to do some good damage. Oh, no, the Marine is running the wrong direction. He needs to kill it off. He needs to kill off the extractor. Oh. And Jinglesassy is to declare the winner. GG gets called. And that is going to be it, guys. That is going to be the end for that game. Because I am in charge of these show matches and I can decide the rules for them. And that is when Boomerang StarCraft decided to never speak to me again. But guys, we are going to have time for, it looks like, one final show match. I just want to get that one game finished. So thank you guys to Jinglesassy and Boomerang for the game. It was fun, but I do want to cast one last series. This is going to be Dust Gaming SLeet versus whoever the heck he has in mind. Do you have an opponent? SLeet. Let's see if we can get an opponent for SLeet. We'll go ahead and cast one more game. Guys, thank you all everyone who's been tuning in. Huge shout out to everyone that's been in the chat. Especially huge shout out to everyone that stuck around for the entirety of that game. That was a long game. Oh wait, my music stopped going. Come on. There we go. Yeah. YouTube.com/DSCA account. Oh. Alright, well, still waiting on a response from SLeet. But guys, I just want to thank you one more time for all showing up. If you guys are enjoying the cast, please do consider following the channel. It does help me out. And please also consider tuning in for other streams, because one thing I really want to do, and it's the main thing that I'm really shooting for right now in the whole streaming, casting stuff, is getting enough viewers consistently when I turn on the stream that I can maybe get a Twitch partnership. Not so much because I'm in desperate need of money. I'm working a full-time job as a software developer. I don't actually need money. Don't worry about that, guys. But I do want to actually be able to earn ad revenue so that I can put that money toward breaking out seasons, add just a little bit of extra money for the breaking out players, and maybe even start to put on a couple more show matches. Heck, maybe, I mean, when we have Boomerang and Jinglesassy or Padre and Mr. Nice Guy playing these show matches, we can do like $2 or like $5, I don't know, extravaganza show match prize winning money things. I spoke words there. Okay, guys, we need a Grandmaster level player to play against SLeet from Team Dust. Do we have any GM level players who want to play? Anybody? Anybody? Let's see. $2 extravaganza. This song really aptly represents how my brain feels right now with my speech. And so I'm gonna be entirely honest, guys. I'm amazed that I'm actually like still awake right now. I was at work today, and I went to my workplace. Has like a salad bar place that we can go. We still have to pay for all our meals. It's not free food, but we had a salad bar. And today I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try the croutons today. I normally don't get croutons in my salad. So I went and got the croutons. The person's really nice and everything. And I actually have a milk allergy. And it turns out these croutons had like cheese or something on them. So I had an allergic reaction. I had to like go down to a drugstore like 3 blocks down or away from my workplace and pick up a Benadryl. And for those of you who don't know, Benadryls like make you exhausted. They make you tired. Like I know people who take Benadryls to go to sleep. And I took a Benadryl like 2 p.m. I'm still somehow amazingly awake right now at 9:30. So I am amazed. Let's see. Do we have anybody yet? Anybody? any GM level players who wants to play against Dust Gaming SLeet. And yeah, Boomerang just saying last game, a little bit of a joke. It definitely was a little bit of a joke. I mean, we saw him going for nuclear missiles and everything, and this is all in good fun, guys. There's nothing really on the line over here. And I want to give a huge shout out to everyone that actually participates in these show matches and just has a good time. And here's the cool thing, right? So you'll see, like, and big shout out to Base Trade TV. I love Rifkin, I love Base Trade, I love Zombie Grav, the whole crowd and everything, but you have those kind of show matches which are like really high level players doing like high level play for money, like $100 show matches and all this other kind of crazy cool stuff. And then you have show matches with there's nothing on the line. You get to see really fun stuff like mass Raven builds and nuclear, like rushing nukes and double Stargate into double Robo, like just craziness because you're not risking anything. You get to experiment and have some fun, and that's what StarCraft needs some more of, in my opinion. So I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone that's played today. Nobody has really been a disappointment, and of course also like oh man, I'm feeling terrible. It was who was the play? The ZVZ on King Sejong Station. Started with a P. It started with a P. Pseudorandom was the one who was going for the Ultralist Wormhole style in ZVZ. Like, that's just so cool. It's something you don't really see. Okay. Let me see if I can just hit up a couple of players. Alright, well, SLeet is going to go ahead and check with his teammates, see if there's anybody that wants to play, but it looks like there's nobody on right now. So I'm going to try hitting up Elhaym, see if he wants to play. He is in the chat, but he's not responding. But guys, thank you again for sticking around. This is going to be the last show match of the night. SLeet's saying all the people on his friends list that are GM are all AFK. Of course. Just our luck. But I'm curious, did any of you guys actually get a chance to catch Evo yesterday or anything? I know I got to catch a little bit of Evo. I used to be really big into Smash Bros, and I got to catch that. That was a lot of fun to watch. Let's see. There's also the Marvel vs. Capcom finals. Oh my god. Or actually, I should say the winners semis? The one with Justin Wong, I think, versus... Oh, who was it? Who was it? Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The Akuma Ultra, like, oh god. So for those of you who don't know, Justin Wong is like this player for Team Evil Geniuses. You know, Evil Geniuses, they have StarCraft, they have Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, etc. All kinds of different games, honestly. And he was facing off in this game. He looked like it was like the ace match. It was 2-2. Winner of this singles game was gonna advance on to the winners finals. Or sorry, the grand finals, I believe. And what ended up happening was, in Marvel vs. Capcom, you have 3 characters. So you basically have 3 lives in the form of 3 different characters. Justin Wong had lost 2 of his characters already. He was down to his last guy. It was Akuma. And to be entirely honest, I'm not super familiar with the Marvel vs. Capcom like meta or anything, but I don't generally see Akuma played as a character that often. I would see Justin Wong using him as this sort of like assist, so you can come in and do like one move and then leaves. I don't really see him played all that often, but Akuma is his last character. He comes out with him, and he's up against this guy who has 2 characters still left over. Now, he manages, as soon as Akuma comes out, to get this amazingly well-timed Ultra off. It just punishes his opponent, gets both of his opponent's characters, and just wins right there. Immediately stands up, runs like just away from the stage, and just does a barrel roll off of it. It was pretty insane. It was a beautiful thing. King of Fighters also, I didn't actually get a chance to cast that, Curran. I heard it was really good though. I did hear good things about the King of Fighters finals. The Street Fighter finals was also pretty awesome. Although I was rooting for oh my god, now I'm thinking of Snake Hips. Snake Hips is a StarCraft player. Snake something. Snake Eyes? Snake Eyes. Zangief player. So patient. Even Avila would be jealous. Alright, so it looks like we will have Ruff versus SLeet played as soon as Ruff is finished with his current game. And yeah, it was Snake Eyes. Thanks, Vigilo. And hey, what's up, Doc Woot? Nice to have you in the chat. But yeah, shout out to youtube.com/DSCA account. Definitely worth following, guys, over on YouTube if you are into following stuff on YouTube. It just does like a bunch of video game covers. It's really, really cool. Well, this is obviously like a GoldenEye Nintendo 64 game. That was a fun game. I missed that game. You know, I kind of wish I had people like play D&D or something with. Have a bunch of like D20s and stuff from back when I used to play D&D in like middle school. Yeah, these are all from like middle school. I think I have like 3 or 4 D20s, a couple of D. I think I only have 1 D6. No, I have 2 D6s. I have like a D8. I have like a D4. I didn't even know that was a thing for a really long time. All kinds of crazy stuff. But nobody to play D&D with or anything. None of that fun stuff. I always watch the Itme JP roleplay stuff. It's a lot of fun. And I'm curious. First person to shout out the name of this song. Let me know. Oh, looks like we're going to be getting Trace versus SLeet. Alright, I'm gonna make these guys angry with me. I'm gonna pick a terrible map. Let's see. Oh, Boomerang, do I need a co-caster? You know, we'll actually do a co-cast another time, Boomerang. I'm definitely interested in doing it at some point in the future. But I want to be careful. I was thinking about doing it earlier with Anateros, but I realized that I want to like sound check and do all that other stuff before I do bring on anyone. So it'll just be a little bit easier. We'll do like I'll invite you on for like a day where I just do another chill cast and we'll just cast a bunch of stuff. Alright. What map? Oh! Oh! I know! Yes. Wait, where is it? Where is it? Oh shoot, what was it called? Okay, I know the name. I know the name. I'm not even gonna say the name. I don't even want to spoil how amazing this is going to be. Observing? You know, Boomerang, honestly, I don't need an observer for these streams just because these streams are like my chance to practice my own observing because I'm normally really terrible about it. I'm normally just like not observing at all. It's always Korean TV or somebody else. I get really, really lazy about it. But I do appreciate the offer. And yeah, Manbon, Boomerang, you guys got it. Dire Docs from Super Mario 64. Zell Sam. Weird Owl wants a new duck. What? Alright guys. Looks like the players are in the chat or in the game lobby. Oh, thank you, Kurin. All right. But the music will be put on hold as we jump into our final series of the night. And hold on, wait, are the players actually ready? All right, the players are ready. We're gonna be bringing it up. The map is going to be a mystery until I bring it onto the actual in-game screen. The players are going to be Trace from Team Spectre, I think, I believe now on Team Spectre, and Dust Gaming SLeet. Should be a fun match. Hopefully you guys are excited. And it's going to be a TVZ. Now, I just want to hear in the chat who you think is, who you think is going to be winning. After you see the map, I'm gonna tell you guys to hold off until you see the map. Tell me who you think is actually gonna win this, because it's gonna play a minor part. It's gonna play a minor part in this. Wait, really? Really? Did Rough just come back? Did Rough just get ready as we jump to the next game? All right, we're gonna have to deal with that later, guys. Let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players on the map. Novice Blistering Sands. We have down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning as the pink Terran player. It is going to be Trace. And his opponent spawning up here in the top right-hand corner as the Zerg player, red Zerg player. It is going to be Dust Gaming SLeet. Now realizing a little bit about this map. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a little bit about Blistering Sands. Ages ago, there was an initial map pool for the StarCraft II Wings of Liberty beta. And this is one of the maps. Now, we'll take a look. You have a pretty wide open main base. You have these little site blockers over here. We're going to come back to those. You have a natural expansion over here, all right? And over at this natural expansion, it's a pretty normal, safe natural expansion, except for the fact that there is this low ground that you can plant siege tanks at and siege up your opponent's natural expansion. But let's ignore that for a second. Don't worry about it. We come to these rocks. Now, this is not necessarily a feature of the map per se, as much as it is about the novice part of the map. So novice basically means that it's one of the initial practice maps when you are initially getting placed. You deal with these novice rocks because it stops your opponent from going for 6 pooling and all those kind of shenanigans. Now, there is normally another entrance over here on Blistering Sands, but not on Novice Blistering Sands. That would be too complicated for those young little, budding StarCraft II players to deal with. Extra rocks at the backside, you have to defend your front and your backside, so they just replace it with a ridge. But that's still a nice area for Reapers or Colossus or any kind of ledge jumping units to go over. Now, we'll have to see how this game actually shifts up, because honestly, where do you take a third expansion? Normally you have a third expansion right here or like right here or something, you know, somewhere close by. Over here, it's like you have to go all the way around over here, this long distance, take out these gold rocks, and then you have your gold expansion, your third. Or you take this distance away. This is your third. This is like how far some maps spawn you away from your opponent. This is kind of ridiculous. But we already have an interesting build coming out from SLeet. He's going for 4 early Zerglings. Now, on a map where you were just protected by these destructible rocks, this is a very, very strange build order to go for. I mean, you can see what Trace is doing. Trace is going for the early command center. I mean, actually, after a 1-Rax expansion, going for an early Reaper. Reaper makes sense. I can get on board with Reapers. Because you know what? On this map, you jump your Reapers in. And you can do some nice damage over here. Here is that Reaper. Is moving around. It's going to be able to poke around and see what damage it can do. But there are actually Zerglings out on the map. That's the really weird thing. And SLeet is maybe not prepared for this. Maybe he was expecting, oh, you know what? There's Novice, blistering sands. My opponent's going to have rocks. He's going to play super duper greedy. He's not going to have any units up. Wait, what? Wait, what? Why do you have 8 Zerglings out on the map? He's going to have Zergling speed very, very soon as well. Now, these Reapers are just not going to be prepared for this. Where are the Zerglings? The Zerglings are actually moving down to the natural expansion. Zergling speed is just seconds away from finishing up. The Reapers are going to be retreating back to the ledge. Are they going to get back in time? The Reaper basically barely manages to get out of there alive. Both of these Reapers going to be regenerating that health, but that has been a huge tell. Now, Trace actually knows quite a bit about the situation that you know, SLeet's put himself in. He doesn't have a natural expansion. That's kind of a big deal, guys. And I think that you should be able to see the creep over here eventually. So if these rocks don't get knocked down for a little bit, then you know it should be pretty obvious for Trace very soon. But SLeet is going for a 1-base spider play. Yes. But Novice and StarCraft are not ready for that. Alright, well, we're going to see the 1-base Mutals play coming out from SLeet. The Lair Tech was scouted out by Trace, so he should have some idea. Okay, something weird is going on. He's throwing down the engineering bay. He may actually be onto this engineering bay. Takes another 25 seconds to build. The Spire going to be finished up in 10. Then the Mutals are going to take a good bit more time. There's going to be plenty of time to get up those missile turrets as those Mutals are making their way across the map. And the Spire has been spotted. Oh no, SLeet going to be in a lot of trouble. He's now taking the natural expansion. He's now trying to take out those destructible rocks at his natural expansion. And maybe think about taking a 3rd expansion, because you know that once your opponent has seen that Spire, guess what? These Mutals, they're going to have such an enormously difficult time doing a whole lot of damage over here. You're going to have to transition out. Take the gold expansion. Use those Zerglings to take out these rocks and then go for the gold. Take both of the gold expansions. What's your opponent going to do? He hasn't even taken out his own natural expansion rocks. I mean, yeah, the map is actually kind of small. I mean, look at this. All right, here's the natural expansion of the Zerg player. Here's the natural expansion of the main Terran player. Zerg, Terran. Zerg, Terran. That's how small this map is. So you're gonna have to be a little bit careful about that. Your opponent can actually get to your opponent's side, or your side of the map very, very quickly. But you know, SLeet, I feel like taking double gold expansions still might be one way to try and come back economically into this game from being on 1 base for I think a good like 3 or 4 minutes longer than your opponent. Actually, maybe even like 5 minutes. I want to say. But Reaper gonna be jumping back in over here behind the safety of these destructible rocks. Trace defending and deflecting these Mutals without too much of a problem as well. No stim has actually been finished up just yet, but he just has enough Marines that these Mutals just really can't cause too much trouble. I mean, this is all you can really afford to make on 1 base of Mutalists. You have 2 Gas Geysers, and you have to afford the Lair Tech, and the Spire, and the Mutalists, all off of 2 Gas Geysers. You're just not going to have many Mutalists. This is the fact. And SLeet going for a very weird expansion. He's going for the very forward, normally like 4th or 5th expansion as his 3rd. And not opting to take the gold expansion. Maybe it's a little bit too obvious. Maybe he doesn't want to take out the destructible rocks. I have no idea the reasoning behind it, but regardless, he's not going to be going for it. He's going to instead just take that more forward expansion that maybe he will hope isn't going to get scattered out. But I mean, there's a lot of watch towers that will be able to scatter it out as well. The Mutalisks try and do a little bit of damage, but honestly, what damage can they do against this many Marines just defending 2 bases? Not a whole lot. There's even a lot of missile turrets. 2 missile turrets over there at the natural expansion. Another missile turret over here in the main base. The destructible rocks finally getting taken out, but they do have 3 armor, so it's going to take a little bit of time for these Marines actually to take them out. Marines do have +1 weapons. And oh, Mutalisks taking out a Reaper over there while the Marines are actually focus firing down those rocks. That's a really cute maneuver over there from SLeet, but oh my god. Oh god. Trace is just wondering, what is going on? Are there burrowed banelings over here? What are you up to? There is a hatchery over here. How on earth were you expecting to defend this, SLeet? As now we end up seeing the Mutalisks trying to defend over here, but there's just so many Marines with +1 weapons. There's no way these Mutalisks can take on these Marines or these Marauders in a direct engagement. The hatchery is under fire. It's gonna go down to just these 3 Marauders wailing away at it. And SLeet has been reduced back to 2 bases. And Trace looking to take his 3rd. The Mutalisks trying to do some damage, but getting taken out over here. More and more Mutalisks losing their lives. 5 Mutalisks. They may not seem like the biggest deal at the 12-minute mark, but you have to remember that that is about almost half of the Mutalisks that SLeet has had this game. He's basically lost about half of the Mutalisks. Has a couple more left over, but oh man. SLeet is in a world of trouble, and even defending this little bit of harassment is going to be a little bit painful because he's losing a couple of Mutalisks or, you know, taking some good damage on them. And yeah, he does clean up, which is nice, but he's going to have to deny his opponent's 3rd expansion and get up a 3rd expansion of his own ASAP because he is down 25 supply. He's sort of down in upgrades, at least in terms of his ground upgrades. He doesn't really have any upgrades for his Zerglings, for his armor on his Zerglings, or the weapons, or anything else. He does have the +1 weapons, flyer weapons for the Mutalisks. Actually, +2 flyer weapons. He's committed to these Mutalisks. I mean, even after having been scouted out so early on for the Mutalisks, he is committed to making these Mutalisks work. And I've got to hand it to SLeet. I respect that. I respect trying to make Mutalisks work. Oh, has the opportunity to pick off 2 free medevacs. He sees them, but he doesn't decide to go for them because he needs to defend over here. The banelings do not have baneling speed just yet. Centrifugal another 30 or 40 seconds away. Oh no, every single one of the banelings ends up falling before making a single connection. A Mutalisk falls here and there, but where are the Zerglings? Where are the units to defend? He's going after the destructible rocks at the goal just while he is, I guess, maybe waiting for some more banelings or Zerglings to stream in over here. Some of those Zerglings are now starting to stream in, and they did to do a little bit of damage, but evolution chambers and units are starting to fall everywhere. The Mutalisks are forced to engage the Marines head on in a one-on-one direct engagement. Mutalisks actually doing a decent job in actually cleaning up those Marines. Oh my god. SLeet's Mutalisks are actually doing a pretty decent job in this game, guys. They're doing better than expected. Let's leave it at that. But where does it go from here? Take out the destructible rocks. Once again, we have units that don't do a lot of damage but attack relatively fast, trying to take out units with a lot of armor. And it just doesn't go very quickly. Finally, the destructible rocks are taken out. You can try and take that gold expansion at last. But he needs the banelings to defend. More and more banelings getting canceled. He needs to have these banelings morphing in. Maybe in his main base where it's just safer. Where he doesn't risk these kind of big Marine pushes to just come in and decimate the entire force. But gold expansion is actually forced to be canceled by these Marines. You know, SLeet just realized there's no way he's going to be able to defend it. He needs some Zerglings. He needs some banelings. The Mutalisks are not going to be enough over here. Not for this number of Marines. The evolution chambers are under fire. The drones are being pulled. And this is going to be SLeet's last defense. He goes at it with the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks have good upgrades, but it's just not enough. And Trace gonna be taking the game on Novice Blistering Sands. Terran OP, David Kim, don't buff them, please. And that is going to be it for that game. I know that we said that was going to be the last game of the night, but Boomerang as StarCraft talking in the battle.net chat saying how terrible bull that was. How terribly bull that was. And oh my god, PandaBearMe is in the chat. Oh, PandaBearMe. I'm a huge fan of PandaBearMe. Oh, Not only does he have one of the most amazing names ever, but he is just a swell. He just has some really swell play. I really like PandaBearMe. I'm just gonna say that outright. All right, but I don't know. Do we? You know, I said that was the last game. I just want to keep going. All right, we're gonna keep going. All right. Oh, hey, the Walrus is also in the chat. What's up, Walrus? All right. Okay, PandaBearMe has said he wants to play. That's it. He's playing. Now we need to find him an opponent. Alright. Let's see if we can find PandaBearMe an opponent. PandaBearMe is a pretty goddamn good player on Team Integrity Gaming. He's a Grandmaster level player and is honestly incredibly sick and fun to watch. And he is a Zerg player. I'm interested to see if we can find a good GM player for PandaBearMe. Maybe we'll just have SLeet play again. Alright, good night, Boomerang. It was good to have you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, let's get some music going. Hopefully, maybe my music will actually start. You guys hear this, right? Oh, there it is! It's starting! Yes! Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh, Kroon, are you also going to sleep? It's good to have you, everyone that's going to bed. Thank you so much for sticking around and tuning in. Alright, let's see. I know Manbon also wants to play again. Unfortunately, I don't think that we have time to do too many more games. We'll probably have like 1 or 2 more games left. But we'll have to try and figure out who we're going to have playing. Alright, it looks like we may have the Walrus versus PandaBearMe. PandaBearMe is going to be a little bit favored. The Walrus is a good player, and don't get me wrong, I've actually been able to cast some of his games. He actually submits a lot of his games to reddit.com/r/castit, and does play pretty damn well for Team Dust. PandaBearMe is pretty good though. I don't know. I love the Walrus. But I gotta favor PandaBearMe a little bit. Oh, okay, awesome. Curran's still sticking around. Just saying goodnight to all the other fine folks. And yeah, Manbon, good ear. This is in fact Mega Man 2. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to do the Blizzard Ladder map pool roulette for what terrible map I'm going to make these players play on. Alright, let's see. What can we get? What? Oh, I know. I know what I'm gonna make them play. Oh, this is gonna be beautiful. Alright guys, I know the map. We're going to be jumping into the game in just a couple of seconds as I get the players invited and ready to play in this next game. And, you know, the Walrus, I will say, there's one thing, is that I have seen him go mech a decent number of times, and I know that also we had Makomi telling me that he's actually played against the Walrus and had him go mech against him. So this is entirely a possibility, especially with the map choice that has been randomly picked by no intention of myself, of course. And race switching is allowed. You don't have to play your main race at all. Do whatever the heck you want. And we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. The Walrus. The Walrus. What is this map? I don't even. Oh. Okay. Well, we got the go-ahead from the Walrus. PandaBearMe said, "Go, let's get this show on the road." And yeah, this is now Mega Man 3 Manbon. You have a good ear for game music. We're going to resume that in a little bit because now we're going to be jumping into our actual final series of the night. It is going to be the Terran player, the Walrus, facing off against the Zerg player, PandaBearMe. Both of these players really sick Master/Grandmaster level players, but they are being forced to play on very old school and terrible maps. By me. For absolutely no money and nothing but fun, we're going to be watching these two players duke it out for pride, for glory, and again, for fun, guys. It's all about the fun. We saw some awesome games, but now let's jump in and see what terrible map I'm making these players play on as we spawn. Up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, Jungle Basin. How many of you remember this map? We have the blue Zerg player representing Integrity Gaming. It is going to be PandaBearMe. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. As the red Terran player, it is going to be the Walrus. It was more like season 2 or 3, maybe 4. So fairly recent. What? Was this not season? Was this season 1? Oh, this is season 1 of GSL. Okay, so for those of you who don't know much about Jungle Basin, or maybe you just forgotten, this is Jungle Basin, okay? You have a really wide main base. So you have a ramp down here. We're gonna get to that in a second. You have your main ramp over here. Barracks going down over here, of course, for the Walrus. This is where you're going to want to do that standard wall off, because over here, this is not your natural expansion. This would be a very far away natural expansion. This is your third expansion. Your natural expansion is actually down here. You actually have a nice little tucked in natural expansion that is accessible by destructible rocks. And the Walrus getting a little bit of lag. We're gonna cry a little bit for him. But here's the thing about this map, guys, is that you have these destructible rocks that can be taken out, opening up a second pathway into your main base. So this kind of invalidates this kind of wall, and if you go for some kind of early pool shenanigans, we're not seeing that quite out of PandaBearMe. But the real issue is, how the heck do you defend this third expansion? Really, let's be honest. How the heck do you defend this third? Because you take this natural expansion, fine, that's kind of tucked away. You're not gonna take this as your third expansion. This is so far away. Can you imagine trying to defend this? Like, you have an attack of Zerglings or something over in your main base, and then you have to walk this way and all the way around, down over here. Oh, gotta go up the ramp and up over here, and boom, now you're defending your third expansion. Like, you cannot actually reasonably try and do that. And the other alternative is you defend this third expansion out over here, but guess what? This is the distance between the thirds. Look. I can see the mineral patches for both thirds on the same screen. This is not something that should be happening in this game. So it's very difficult to take a third expansion. That is the lesson to take from this map. So let's see how these players adjust for it. We have PandaBearMe going for his natural expansion. The Walrus kind of delaying his a little bit longer. Going for the earlier gas geyser. Getting up a factory, actually, and a reactor. Ooh, we could be seeing some very, very fast reactor Hellion play. But, I mean, he doesn't have any units right now. He's going to have to pull some SCVs to actually repair that supply depot wall in right now. Because otherwise, okay, well, here are his 2 Marines. I guess he was going Overlord hunting. This Marine going to lose its life. But, I mean, hey, oh, actually... manages to save it. It looks like PandaBearMe doesn't really want to actually lose any of these Zerglings, so he's gonna just pull them back, keep an eye out, see, okay, I see a reactor, I see a factory, I know what you're up to. How does he prepare, though? That is gonna be the big question, because you know what? There could be a lot of Hellions coming out very, very soon. Oh, I see what's going on now. Oh, poor the Walrus. Has a reactor, was gonna be going for the reactor factory, but as soon as he lifts this up, the Zerglings are gonna get into the main base and just wreak havoc on the economy, on just the production, on everything of the Walrus. So, oh, supply depot's being lowered, and actually the Zerglings do manage to get in. It looks like the Walrus, I'm not sure what he was thinking, maybe trying to let him in, bait him in, and thought he could take him out, but, I mean, he will eventually take him out. But this is kind of annoying. He's going to be losing an SCV, building a command center. He's going to be taking some extra damage on the Hellion. The 2 Zerglings going to scout off and see, okay, you are in fact expanding. That's good to know. I'm not up against social 1 base all in. That is a little bit very annoying. A little bit very annoying, of course. And oh my god, did the Walrus actually... the Walrus, he didn't see it. He didn't scout. He didn't see the Zerglings. They're still sitting there. He needs to go kill them. Oh, poor the Walrus. Those Zerglings can actually go back in and kill off this SCV once again, and that is exactly what they're going to go ahead and do. As they move back in, that poor, poor SCV. Oh no, the Walrus gonna have this delayed for so long. So long. That natural expansion is gonna be very, very late. At the same time, we take a look at what PandaBearMe is up to as he finally does end up losing those Zerglings. You know, he has this 1 guy in gas, just kind of eventually gonna be mining gas up to a pretty healthy gas count to get up maybe a layer tech or something. But in the meanwhile, he's droning up pretty heavily, getting up 2 gas geysers to go up to 3. And from there, I mean, maybe we'll see an eventual layer tech come out. I'm not entirely sure. It's so weird to say, because I mean, you could talk about, oh, well, you know, against a very Hellion heavy you know, force that his opponent has, he could be going for some roaches, but this is such a weird map. I don't even know what to think about what unit composition you should be going for. I mean, I guess roaches would make sense. It's hard to be outmaneuvered on a map where your 3rd bases are quite literally touching each other. So I don't know. Could be either whatever PandaBearMe decides to go for all we know, could be some sort of crazy Nidus Worm play. I don't know why you would Nidus Worm on a map where you're basically connected to your opponent, but it could be. At the same time, the Walrus has the armory up, has quite a few Hellions up. It looks like the answer is going to be Hellbats. He's going to have those very, very strong units that do a lot of damage in just direct confrontations. Tech Lab, going to be ready and available for a starport, actually. So we're going to be seeing a good bit of mech out of the Walrus. And we kind of talked a little bit about this before. And the PandaBearMe going to have to be prepared for mech. And it's kind of a weird situation because we just talked about this map that taking a 3rd is impossible. So when you're up against a player that has a ton of Hellbats and has a big scary mech army that's hard to attack in direct confrontations, how the heck do you deal with that on a small map where there's no real way to maneuver around your opponent or avoid them? They can go for the base trade and come back to defend in a reasonable amount of time. The Hellions now coming over into the main base, roasting drones, because really there's not a whole lot over here to defend. The roaches now popping out, 16 roaches on the way, but now we end up seeing a lot of Hellbats mentioned. I like the fact that he split up some of these into Hellbats and some of these into Hellions, running over to the natural expansion to try and do a little bit of damage over here as they are trying to get some good shots off. They managed to kill a lot of drones already. We have 26 drones fallen so far for the Zerg player, PandaBearMe. He's taking enormous losses, but how he's going to be able to deal with this big roach counterattack that's going to be moving across the map. A Banshee is on the way, ladies and gentlemen. This could be the bang answer as long as he doesn't just die outright or take an absurd amount of damage. He should actually be fine just because Banshees are air units and they can't get hit by roaches. It's As simple as that. That's all the real strategy you need when you have Banshees against Roaches. Now we do have a couple other ground units, and of course the Wallen, just to buy a little bit of time. Now we have the Walrus kind of repairing up all those buildings. Needs to repair up this supply depot, as that is going to be a sort of vulnerable location for these Roaches to knock down and try and bust their way in to do a little bit of damage. Because remember, PandaBearMe, if he can drone up or something behind this and just do enough damage, he can still sort of bounce back from this. He's not actually too far behind. I mean, he has a lair tech up and everything. He has a Roach Warren, and he has the ability to produce the drones. He just has to get around to doing it safely. Now, it looks like a Banshee is going to be moving its way across the map, and that is going to spell danger for PandaBearMe, who doesn't have more than one queen. One queen, and Cloak is going to be coming out. Do we have any Overseers? Oh, we actually do have an Overseer, but it's on the other side of the map, so that's actually not going to be too helpful. No Spore Crawlers really around on this natural expansion or in the main base. And honestly, even making a single Spore Crawler is going to be a very painful decision for PandaBearMe to actually have to make. But now we end up seeing the Banshee coming in over here. The single queen is going to come try to defend. The Banshee is just kind of ignoring it, just going after everything else. And now he finally decides, let's cloak and go after this queen. Get rid of that, and then what is there going to be to defend the queen popping out as many creep tumors as it realizes its life is going to be forfeit? Might as well get a little bit of creep spread on the Roaches going after those rocks at the backside, but it looks like the Walrus is going to be onto it. He burrows a couple of Widow Mines and down here at the backside, going to be ready to intercept those Roaches. At the same time, the Banshee continue to do more and more damage. The Spore Crawler is doing a lot of damage. Oh, the Walrus, he's lagging. He needs to focus right down the Spore Crawler. Oh no, doesn't quite get it. If he was able to take it out, he would have been able to cancel the vision detection from PandaBearMe, but unfortunately unable to do so. But at the same time, when you have 10 Widow Mines awaiting this number of Roaches, I think it's actually okay. Oh my god, that was a lot of Widow Mine shots. And still 3 Roaches still managed to sneak their way in. I don't even know. I don't even know what just happened there, but 3 Roaches are going to be able to sneak their way in, and the SCVs, the Hellbats, and everything are going to get pulled off the line and eventually be able to deal with those Roaches. Hellbats actually do pretty well against Roaches, surprisingly enough. And the Walrus just making sure that his SCVs are not going to actually defect to the other side of the army, and just attacking him a little bit, giving him a little taste of their own medicine, getting the fear out of them, putting the fire underneath their feet. The Banshee continue to do a nice little bit of harassment. There are 3 Spore Crawlers actually up over in the main base, and 2 Spore Crawlers over the natural expansion, and a Spire actually going up for PandaBearMe. PandaBearMe has sort of bounced back on the drone count, but the problem really is that he just doesn't have much of an army. He's invested into the Spire tech, which is going to be nice, but he needs to build up quite a bit of gas to really effectively utilize that. And wait, was there splash? Oh my god, wait. Did the Widow Mines actually kill the SCVs? Oh no! Oh no, they killed like 7 more SCVs. Thank you for catching that in the chat. Very much appreciate that. Well, at this point, I guess that does even up the worker counts quite a bit if the Widow Mines are killing off their own team's SCVs. But now we have, it looks like, the Walrus trying to push down these destructible rocks at the backside of this Banshee. Just kind of doing a little bit of harassment to these Zerglings that are running across the map, maybe looking to do a little bit of counter damage themselves. But the Walrus is actually starting to get a little bit of a wall off for himself. And, I mean, these Widow Mines should be able to deal with these Zerglings without too much trouble. Oh, not taking out any more of his own SCVs, thank God. But he does finally complete that wall, or starts to complete the wall before the Zergling's able to take out that SCV. And we're actually hitting the 16-minute mark, and neither of these players have been able to take a 3rd expansion. Neither of them have really tried to take a 3rd expansion. And this is just kind of a symptom of the map, I have to say. This map is very difficult to take a 3rd expansion on, and both these players realize it, so they're just going to opt not to. And eventually their main bases will be mined out, and they will be 1-basing players. And I will still be surprised if we see either of these players take a 3rd base. Now, the Walrus has finally knocked down the destructible rocks, but PandaBearMe does have vision of this. He does know that's happened, and these Roaches and Zerglings should be able to easily take out all of those Hellions. Now, the Banshee is going to retreat on home, because it knows, hey, you know what, there's a lot of Spore Crawlers over here. No sense in wasting my life over there. Might as well back up and just, you know, control the zone like a watchtower and stuff. I would actually love to see him go ahead and try and take out some of those Zerglings, but the Mules are now looking around for those Banshees. They do need to have an Overseer with them to actually be able to effectively take out the Banshees, but Thor's actually now being produced from the Walrus, and look at this army. That is actually a very, very scary army for our Zerg player, PandaBearMe, to deal with. I really just don't know how he deals with this. He has a lot of SCVs pulled as well. I think this might be the big Doom push that the Walrus needs to make. And I'm not sure what PandaBearMe does. PandaBearMe taking a third expansion that honestly looks like something that maybe the Walrus should try and take, but burrowed Banelings over here for PandaBearMe, not at actually the right location. It would have been nice to maybe try and get a cancel off on a third location that was taken over here, but not going to be the case, as the Walrus just kind of clearing out these watchtowers, looking around for any kind of third expansions. I like the fact that PandaBearMe has burrowed a lot of these bins in a lot of different locations over here. But these Widowmines, oh my god, the Widowmines burrowed on top of the Banelings that are also burrowed on top of the Widowmines. Who's going to kill each other first? I don't know. It looks like no detection going to be around for the Walrus. The Walrus is not going to be picking off those Widowmines anytime soon, but if those Banelings actually decide to explode on anything, they're also going to be able to do a little bit of splash damage to his Terran opponent. Now the Walrus is going to be moving in over here. Some Banelings greeting this force over here. He's going to be able to get some pretty nice shots off as the Banelings are, boom, going to explode on top of a lot of those Hellbats. More Hellbats starting to fall to some of those Banelings, but this is still a very, very scary force. These Collector Edition Thors, a throwback to Wings of Liberty, are still going to be able to do a lot of damage and going to be able to soak up a lot of hits from the Banelings. Banelings still getting some pretty good hits off. Banelings actually do a pretty good job against Thors and able to get a lot of the repairing SCVs and everything, but still it's not quite enough. Two more Thors still manage to survive. The Hellbats of Blue Flame going after the drones that are pulled up trying to take out the Thors. And now we end up having PandaBearMe falling down 9 workers below his opponent. Hellbats and a Siege Giant going to be able to take out this third expansion. Could this be it? Could this be the push that the Walrus needed to do to end the game? To end this massacre, this terrible, terrible game that these players had to play on the map Jungle Basin, where it is impossible to take a third. It just very well may be, but more roaches are coming out. PandaBearMe looks like he's trying his best to just hold on a little bit longer. The Banshee, though, taking out the Banelings, and the Thor is able to survive. 19 kill Thor, and one of those kills is about to, 20 kills is about to be, oh, well, actually, I was about to say it was about to be a building, but it was not. In fact, the Hellbat stole a kill, and it was promptly killed off by the Broodlings. And thank you, Techno, for sticking around. Have a good night. Looks like this game is going to be potentially over very soon, as the Walrus is going to be taking out the Spire. And with the Spire being taken out, I mean, what is there really going to be for the PandaBearMe to make? He is already hurting on economy. I mean, both these players are hurting on the economy front. But the Walrus still has an army left over. He's up a solid 60 supply. And can PandaBearMe even afford an Overseer? Okay, he does have an Overseer. He has actually 2 Overseers. He still has this Overseer down in the bottom right-hand corner. Not quite utilizing that. That would be great. Oh, Widowmines exploding on top of some of those Mutalisks. Every single unit counts right now for the Walrus, especially the Mutalisks, since those are the units that really won't be handled by a lot of anti-air. The drones being pulled, trying to deal with the Siege Tanks. The drones are actually may even be able to kill off one of these Siege Tanks. 9 health, 6 health. GG gets called. The Siege Tank survives, and the Walrus gonna take the game in the final series of the night. On Jungle Basin, David Kim, the solution to Terran having trouble these days, it's not to actually buff Terran. It's to bring back maps like Discord 4 and Jungle Basin, and just bring back old school maps. That's it. That's all you need. I'm so glad that David Kim is obviously sitting in the chat and listening and learning so much about how to truly balance Terran in this game. But guys, thank you so much to everyone that decided to tune in. Thank you to everyone that actually decided to play. A huge shout out to all the players. We'll really quickly just go through all the names of the players. So we actually had Elhaym play a game against Minigun. Minigun was actually not a part of it, but Elhaym sent me the replay, so thank you to Elhaym for that. I also want to give a shout out to Pseudorandom, the Masters level player, and Issac, a player that he actually just played against on the ladder. just found him on the ladder and just brought him in to play. And hey, what's up, SWS? Player from Breaking Out, Season 2, Week 1. That's actually how I remember the Breaking Out players. I remember them by the week that they were on. But yeah, so big shout out to Pseudorandom and Issac. Big shout out, of course, to Heartolion and Manbon. Manbon has been sitting in the chat the entire time. Thank you, Manbon, for sticking around. It's great to have a fellow day knight in the chat. And of course, another shout out goes to Solaris Gaming's Padre and Go-To Boy, aka Mr. Nice Guy, aka there's another name. There's another name. I'm trying to remember. Go-To Boy, Mr. Nice Guy, and I can't remember the last one, but shout out to him, of course, former Clarity Academy player. And of course, Boomerang and Jinglesassy. They're having their return, the rebuttal match. And of course, on Novice Blistering Sands, we had Trace and SLeet. That was a match to remember. And Jungle Basin, of course, that we just saw TheWalrus and PandaBearMe playing. Thank you to everyone that's been talking in the chat. Everyone that has already gone to bed, of course. And thank you to everyone watching on YouTube as well. And a big shout out just to everyone I can see in the chat right now. We have Jinglesassy and Current TV, Beagalilla, DanJinWonKim, Manbon, Makomi, PandaBearMe, Pseudorandom 63, Radunk Dog GG, Redank Dog, that is an awesome name. SG Acid, SWS, SC2. Well, it's actually SWSC2 because he combined the S for SWS and SC2. Tanja84DK, my ultimate chat stalker, and Zelsam. Good to have all of you guys. It has been an absolute pleasure to have everyone here. Big shout out to youtube.com/DSCA account for all the music tonight. I listen to them just when I'm playing StarCraft. I listen to them on my way to work. I listen to them at work. And by them, I mean this one guy. He's just awesome. He does covers and just plays all the instruments and everything. Super duper awesome. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the cast, please do consider following the channel. And I will be doing more of these in the future. So if you wanted to play more, or if you just wanted to play and you didn't get a chance to, don't sweat. I'll have more of these that you guys can play in the future. And thank you, Jinglesassy. This is why you're an amazing moderator, like every channel I ever see. Because you do things like just link out things that I'm shouting out. But yeah, that is gonna be it, guys. So thank you so much. You can also follow me on twitter.com/FearDragon64. Be sure to check out all the players that played. We do have TheWalrus, PandaBearMe. Just looking at all the pro players, I know Trace and SLeet. Boomerang is a caster worth following, and Jinglesassy also has a Twitter. Padre from Solaris Gaming and Go-To Boy, also known as Mr. Nice Guy. They have Twitters and are pro players. And Elhaym and Minigun, definitely worth also following as well. So guys, thank you so much. Shout out to Current TV. Follow him over at Current TV. Because you should always be following Current TV. He's the best observer in North America. You should be honored to follow Current TV. Because guys, that is going to be it for the night. I will finally shut up and stop just dragging this out. I'm really terrible at actually like closing stuff up, but hopefully I'll get better. If I just keep doing these streams, I'll get better. Maybe I'll be able to close out one day in like 3 minutes instead of like 10. Have a wonderful night, guys. Hope to see you all in the future. Oh, and if you're a player, get into Grandmaster, because Breaking Out Season 3 is going to be taking players from the ladder again. So be in the GM list so you can qualify. Have a good night, guys.